Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto gets banished and becomes powerful part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Naruto trudged along the path back to Konoha, dragging a wounded and unconscious Sasuke behind him. You are one major pain in the ass. The blonde muttered to himself, looking back at his traitorous comrade. You just had to try and leave. You just had to try and go to Orochimaru to get power to kill your brother. You just had to ram a Chidori through my chest. Naruto continued to complain as he walked back to his home. After the long and tiring walk, he arrived to see that Kakashi was about to leave to come after him, and that Sakura was still at the gates waiting. Naruto! Kakashi shouted as he ran over to him, supporting him as Sakura ran over to Sasuke, starting to cry. What did you do, Naruto? She cried. I brought him back, Naruto said slowly. I wanted him home, not half dead, she screeched as she glared at the barely conscious blonde. Sakura and Naruto trailed off as Kakashi shook his head and carried Naruto and Sasuke to the hospital where they could be treated. Upon their arrival, Tsunade, who had just finished treating Choji, was checking on Naruto, going over his injuries after he had finally passed out from exhaustion. Multiple lacerations and burns. A large round hole, likely caused by a Chidori. Chakra burns along his entire body. Severe chakra exhaustion, Tsunade listed as she stopped. I'll say that he is lucky to be alive. No kidding, Jiraiya said from his seat on the window ledge. I already checked on the Uchiha. His wounds aren't too severe, though he did take a beating from Naruto. I see, Tsunade sighed. Hokage-sama, an ANBU agent said as they appeared in the room. What is it? She asked. You have been summoned to a council meeting, the Nin reported. Who else is present? The elders and the civilian councils are already there, and at the moment only Hayashi Hyuga of the Shinobi Council. The man nodded. Go get Shikakunara and any other members of the Shinobi Council that you can, she ordered as she started leaving. Jiraiya, stay with Naruto. Got it, Haim. The old sage nodded as he kept a close eye on his godson. Tsunade walked into the council chambers to see that just as the ANBU agent had reported, only Hayashi was there from the Shinobi Council. What is the meaning of this? Tsunade growled as she walked over to her seat. It concerns the Sasuke retrieval mission, Danzo said smoothly. While the mission was a success, the methods that were used are to be considered questionable. Questionable? Since when was it the council's job to cross-examine every single mission that Konoha shinobi take? Tsunade asked. When it concerns those last remaining members of clans, Danzo retorted. Due to his injuries, that we know of from a nurse at the hospital, along with the testimony of one Sakura Haruno, Sasuke Uchiha will be unable to be an active shinobi in our forces, and will likely be kept in the hospital for several months. As will Naruto, who suffered far worse damage at the hands of Sasuke. He had a Chidori rammed through his chest. Tsunade roared as she smashed her fist into the table, earning a jump from several of the council members. That is not the point. There were most likely better means from which Naruto Uzumaki could have handled the rescue. I therefore call for a vote to execute Naruto Uzumaki for his viscous attack on Sasuke Uchiha, and for failing to complete such a mission to satisfactory requirements. Danzo smiled. All in favor? He paused long enough to see all of the elders and civilians raise their hands, and Hayashi, raising his slowly. All against? Danzo asked as Shikakunara, and Noichi Yamanaka, and Chazua Akimichi walked in, each raising their hands against, as did Tsunade. And by the Hokage's authority I am allowed to speak for the majority of the populace. Therefore Naruto shall not be executed. Tsunade replied, hoping to see the grin fall from Danzo's face, but it remained where it was. Very well. However, due to the charges against him, he cannot be allowed to remain here. I thereby banish Naruto Uzumaki from Konohagakure. Danzo grinned. You have no right! Tsunade shouted. I do, however. The law states that when the Hokage has a close attachment to the person in question, said person can be banished if the elders and one half of the council agree, which the elders and all of the civilian council do. Therefore I will have him banished instead, where he may meet his end as he sees fit. Danzo replied as the councilors grinned at each other, with the exception of Hayashi, who looked ashamed that he was involved in this matter. Once all of the civilians and elders had left, Tsunade confronted Hayashi. Hayashi, what was the meaning of that? She shouted. I did what was best for Hinata and my clan. Naruto is a force of chaos, just as his father was. I cannot allow him to be near Hinata. He will lead her down a path that will only make her miserable. Are you mad? Hinata is in love with that boy. I know. That is why I agreed to this. I have nothing against him personally, but for the good of my family I will have him banished. Hayashi replied, now if you will excuse me, I will be on my way. With not so much as a backward glance, Hayashi left the council chambers, leaving Tsunade standing there in a rage. Walking back to her office, she quickly removed the painting of Minato Namikaze, the Yodame Hokage painted perfectly with his smiling carefree face, revealing the safe behind it. Opening it, Tsunade removed the documents within, along with all of the scrolls. I may not have been able to stop them, but I will do everything that I can to help you, Naruto. Tsunade promised as she headed back for the hospital. Once in Naruto's room, she saw that the blonde was awake, staring at the wall, his face grim. They banished me, didn't they? He remarked, and it wasn't a question. I'm sorry, Naruto, they did. Tsunade sighed. Pervy Sage said that it was likely to happen. I don't get why though. Naruto remarked, I did the mission, I brought him back. Naruto. There isn't anything I can do more than this. Tsunade said as she set down the items from the safe in front of him. This is your inheritance. Your father, the Yodame Hokage, left them in his safe, for you to have once you were 16. Since you won't be here before then, I thought that now would be the best time to give them to you. Why wasn't I told? Naruto asked. Because of your parents' enemies. They would have killed you without a thought, just to get back at your parents. Your father was the one who decided to have it be withheld until you were 16. That way you would be strong enough to defend yourself against whoever they sent to kill you. Tsunade explained as she walked towards the door. Read their wills first, they are in the envelope. After that, go through them as you like. There isn't much rush, since you have until sunset tomorrow to be out of the village. Naruto waited a few moments before he opened up the envelope. Inside were 2 sheets of paper, both addressed to him. Grabbing the top one, Naruto began reading. Dear Naruto, I know that you will be reading this after I am gone, but I want you to know that I am sorry for not being there for you. Your mother and I always planned on raising you, on having a family, and watching you grow up to be the amazing young man that I know that you will be. Unfortunately, we will not have that chance. It is the reason that your mother and I are leaving these wills to you, for you to read on your 16th birthday. So I guess the first thing should be wishing you happy birthday. I am sure that you are just like me, beating the women off with a stick. Trust me though, one day you will find a woman that will capture your heart, and you will do anything for her. Who knows, maybe you already have, and if not, look at the shy ones, for they have the purest hearts of all. It's how your mother was around me. Anyway, I am leaving you 2 scrolls. The first contains all of my jutsu, and all of my techniques that I have developed, including the Hiraishin, which I know that you will use well. The next one contains all of the bank numbers to the Namikaze and the Uzumaki accounts, which at the time I am writing this contain over 3.2 billion ryo combined, though with interest there is most likely much more. This should be more than enough for you to live on, and buy yourself a nice home. I hope that you are well and that you are not too angry that I sealed the Kyuubi inside of you. I believe that you are the best suited for the job of keeping the beast away from mortal kind, and pray that you are able to do this job to the best of your abilities. Remember that I will always love you. Your father. Minato Namikaze. Naruto blinked back tears, knowing that his father had cared for him, and had truly done the best that he could for his son. Smiling, Naruto set the sheet down gently and picked the other one. My darling Naruto. I hope that you are happy and well when you finally read this, and that you have found yourself a wonderful woman to share your life with. I know that you are probably upset that we could never be together as a family, but know that we truly do love you. I won't waste time thinking on all of the maybes that could have been, since it would be a waste of time to wish things were different. I am leaving you 2 scrolls as well. The first contains the Uzumaki clan techniques, brought with me after I left Yuzuno Kuni. They contain many powerful techniques and lost secrets that only our clan knew about before we were scattered to the wind. The other scroll will have my sword inside of it. It is called Gairu Gale, and it will serve you as well as it did me. You will have to learn how to use it on your own, however I have faith that you will be able to do wonders with it, and hopefully someone has been training you in Kenjutsu. Anyways, before I start rambling, know that your father and I love you and that we will always be watching you from the afterlife, proud of you. Your mother. Kushina Uzumaki. Naruto was now wiping tears from his eyes and was only making sure that there were in fact 4 scrolls left for him. Nodding, he opened each one quickly, noting that they were all had blood seals on the inside, probably to make sure that no one could copy the information before Naruto got them. Getting up slowly, Naruto put on the ruined clothes that he had left, leaving the coat since it was beyond repair. Walking out of the room, he saw Tsunade and Jiraiya waiting for him. You knew about these? Naruto asked. Yeah. Sarutobi-sensei left me a note about them for you. Tsunade nodded. And I was the one to get your mother's sword. Jiraiya sighed. I'm sorry we didn't tell you earlier, but we swore to your parents that we wouldn't. It's okay. Naruto nodded as he turned to leave. Where are you going? You need to rest, Tsunade shouted. I only have until tomorrow. I want to at least start saying my goodbyes, even if there are not a lot of them, Naruto replied as he walked. Inside the blonde's mind he was in a cold rage. He should have been treated better by the adults if they had known about his parents, but they all treated him like dirt. He had been hated, abused and tormented for something that had been done to ensure their protection. He knew who was to blame at least, and knew who at least deserved to have a chance to say goodbye to him. His first stop was the far end of the hospital where he stopped by to see Choji and Shikamaru. Hey guys, Naruto said as he walked inside, surprising the pair. Naruto! They exclaimed as they grinned, Shikamaru stopping when he saw the blonde's eyes. I just wanted to see how you were doing. He grinned. I knew you would be alright, Choji. Of course I would be. Choji laughed, though I have a lot of weight to put back on. Well, I agree there. A skinny Akimichi isn't normal. Naruto laughed. What's on your mind, Naruto? Shikamaru asked suddenly. This isn't a social visit. Smart as ever, Naruto sighed. I came to say goodbye. Goodbye? They shouted. Yeah, because I beat up Sasuke too much. I have been banished by the Great Council. Naruto sighed. Did our parents? Choji asked. I don't think so. From what pervy sage told me, Tsunade had them called to the meeting to defend me. Naruto sighed. Anyways, I have to be out of the village by tomorrow night, otherwise I am going to be killed. That's just not right, Shikamaru noted. It's my life. Don't worry about me, you guys. I will be fine, but I wanted to say goodbye to all of my real friends. Naruto smiled as he got up. I do need to get going. If I get the chance, I will see you all again. Yeah. I hope we do. Shikamaru nodded as Choji was holding back tears about this turn of events. Walking slowly, Naruto exited the hospital, getting the usual glares from the populace as he made his way towards his favorite restaurant. The news being broke there was the worst for Naruto. Tsuchi had nearly cried and Ayame refused to let him go as she cried, her tears hitting his head. After a half hour of this, he was released and allowed to eat all that he wanted before he left. The gorging had gone on for several hours until he finally stopped, saying how he would miss them and write to them if he got the chance. It was dusk now and Naruto was sitting on top of the Hokage monument as he watched the village below him. Naruto, Kakashi said as he sat next to him. Hey. I heard about you being banished. Yeah. It really sucks. Shame we never got to talk about my dad though, Naruto said as Kakashi nearly jumped. You know? Yep. Got to read my parents' will. Let me guess, you swore not to say anything? I did. I respected your parents a lot. But I always watched out for you. Do you remember the dog-masked NBU agent? Well, that was me. Really? Never knew that one. Naruto laughed. Well, it was greatly appreciated what you did for me. I know. I'm sorry I wasn't a better sensei to you. It's okay. Pervy Sage would have taken that role from you eventually. Naruto replied. You did what you could, and that is all that I could ask. Thanks, Naruto. You know things are going to be boring now that you are gone. True. But they will liven up once Konoha hears about this. He will prank the hell out of this place until everyone thinks that he has become me. This earned a chuckle from the pair as they looked back at the night sky. Regardless, I will miss you. I know. I'm going to miss this place, but if they don't want me, then why should I stay? Naruto asked, a cold edge taking his voice. Dawn came slowly for the blonde who was now saying his farewells to Ichiraku, who, while sad, promised not to let anyone ever turn out like Sasuke had. The next on his list was Konoha, and his friends who were in tears by the time the news was told, each promising that they would prank all of Konoha for years in his memory. With them out of the way, Naruto went to the one place he always sat to think, the swing. Taking a seat, he stared into the distance, his eyes just unfocused as he slowly swung. A few moments later he heard footsteps and turned to see Hinata peeking around a tree. Hi, Naruto said as he faced forward again. Hinata frowned at the greeting and walked up closer to him. Hey, are you okay? She asked. Okay, I guess that given the situation, okay is about the best I can be, Naruto replied as he stopped swinging. What do you mean? Hinata asked, now very worried about Naruto. I was banished, he said as Hinata gasped. I have until sunset before I have to leave. Hinata stared wide eyes in horror at what Naruto was telling her. She quickly started trying to dispel whatever genjutsu she thought that she was under, and once realizing that it was reality, she started to panic. What are you going to do? No clue. I guess just wonder. Naruto replied as he looked at her, taking in her face and for the first time noticing how beautiful she was. But surely there must be something. Sorry, Hinata. I have no choice but to leave. He sighed as he met her gaze. Hinata decided that if she was likely to never see him again, she had to act so that he wouldn't forget her. Rushing forward, she tackled him with a back-breaking hug and knocked them both to the ground. Naruto was confused and worried about what was going on when Hinata suddenly kissed him, shocking him even further. I love you, Naruto Uzumaki, she said when she finally stopped, leaving him stunned as he stared at the girl who was laying atop of him. For a few moments he just stared, his mouth slightly open as his brain tried to register what was going on. You love me, he said, truly confused. Yes. I love you, she said again, stealing another kiss from the blonde. Naruto sat up now, bringing Hinata with him, and looked at her. Hinata, I am really touched that you feel that way for me. And I really wish that I wasn't leaving so that I could get to know you. But since I am, I can only do the next best thing and send you letters as often as I can. Naruto smiled as he hugged her. I only wish I had more time. I know, Hinata whispered as she returned the hug. Standing, Naruto looked at her, and with a small smile he headed for his apartment to gather his tools before he left the village. Once at the gates he looked back and his face turned into a scowl. I promise this. You shall regret what you have done to me. I will make sure that nothing is left of those that have betrayed me. Naruto vowed as he left the village, entering the forest and making his way towards the nearest town where he could rest for a few days. Sitting in his hotel room, he was reading over his father's techniques, quickly realizing that his dad, while being a genius, had never really finished anything. His Hiration technique was supposed to actually be used with seals on the body, and using your own thoughts to move to the target place, not a special kunai. As he continued to read, there was knocking on his door, and Naruto was instantly on high alert. Who's there? He asked as he grabbed one of his dad's kunai. Suddenly the door was smashed off of its hinges, and on the other side stood Itachi Uchiha and Kisame Hashigaki. Found you. Kisame laughed as he prepared to charge at Naruto, Samehada at the ready. It is time that you surrendered. We know that you have been banished, and that you are all alone. There is no hope of resisting, Itachi said coolly as he eyed the blonde. Naruto was trying to work on an escape plan. The window was behind him, easily a quick escape, but something was telling Naruto not to use that as an exit. Which was smart on his part, as Itachi had a Kage Bushin waiting outside to trap him in a genjutsu should he make a run for the window. Staring straight ahead, he was quickly making a way to escape, and with a nod he picked up his pack and his father's scroll, making it seem that he would be coming with them. Once he had his possessions, he struck, creating several Kage Bushin to distract them while he made the Rasengan. Once finished, Naruto rammed the sphere into the ground, at an angle that would send debris flying at the two Nuke Nin, forcing them to block the barrage. Once it was done, Kisame struck, swinging his massive sword at the blonde, who rolled to the side and back, raising the kunai to see that Itachi was also moving in, his Sharingan spinning. Grinning, Naruto threw the kunai at the young man, who simply leaned to the side to avoid the blade. However, no sooner had the blade flew past his head did Naruto disappear in a flash of orange, shocking the two as they soon heard the footsteps running down the hall, but never the sound of a kunai hitting the wall. Did the Gaki just use Hiration? Kisame asked, clearly confused. I think he did. Itachi nodded as the pair chased after the blonde, who had left the hotel and was hiding among the populace in the streets below. Jumping into the streets, the two started walking through the crowd, searching for Naruto, who was already sneaking around the crowd and into the back alleys where he would be able to have the advantage. For over an hour the two Akatsuki members searched for him before they finally figured that he had left town while they had searched the populace. Naruto, sitting in an alley where he was catching his breath, was beginning to think that it was really safe to move again. Man, those Akatsuki are relentless, he muttered as he realized something. The Akatsuki, while strong individually, were a group, so that they could work together, and therefore be nigh unstoppable. Grinning evilly, Naruto began to have an idea as to what he needed to do. He needed allies, people who were willing to aid each other, to help them rise above what the world thought they were. Nodding, he walked onto the busy streets again, his mind deciding that it was time to use his banishment to his advantage. 5 years have passed since the banishment of Naruto Uzumaki, and now the shinobi world was in chaos. Old alliances were gone and new ones were on the horizon. Suna and Konoha were now no longer allies. With the banishment of Naruto, Suna was more than angry enough to declare war, but wise words from Gaara fixed that problem. Ain was growing in power, having the group Akatsuki finish the takeover and finishing off the former leader's forces. And a new group had appeared, a mercenary group that was becoming as well known as the Akatsuki and equal to if not stronger than the group. Wherever they went, chaos would rise up and grip the area like a vice until they returned, taking over and establishing order. There were only two nations that were now safe from this, and they were Haru no Kuni and Kaminari no Kuni. The group's name was Yugir, and they were a terror across the elemental nations. In one of the safe houses for Yugir, a man sat on one of the armchairs, his eyes staring ahead as though he was trying to stare through the wall. He was the infamous leader of the group, and he was the one who had gathered them all to his cause. "Sir?" a woman asked as she approached. "What is it?" he asked. "I have the reports that you wanted," she said simply, setting a file on the small table next to the armchair. "Thank you. I will look over them in a minute. I have something I need to take care of," he replied as he leaned forward, grabbing two blank pieces of paper and a pen. "The usual?" she asked with a smirk. "Of course. I have always kept my word, and I do not intend to stop now," he replied as he began writing two letters, sealing each into an envelope and handing them to her. "You know what to do." "Of course, sir." She smiled as she turned on a heel, as sensual as the snakes that she loved and hunted after. Leaning forward, the man began reading over the files as he prepared to make the plans. "Let's see. AIM is maintaining its borders, allowing nothing in or out. Kiri is amassing its forces, probably to try and defend itself from either Akatsuki or us. IWA is maintaining its usual actions along with Oto, Kusa, and Taki. Suna is starting to take more missions and are expanding their influence. Lastly, Konoha is losing influence, and are actually trying to increase their shinobi forces. Seems like everything is going according to plan." He grinned as he stood up, checking the time. "I should be on my way to meeting my other forces." With a flash of orange, he left the base, arriving just outside of the Raikage's office in Kumogakure. Walking in, he saw that the others were all present. "Just in time, boss." A man next to the Raikage laughed. Nodding, the blonde took his seat among the members of Yugir and looked around to see if anyone was missing. "So what do we have to report?" he asked as the Raikage stood up. "At the moment, all of Kumogakure is behind you. The rebellions have all stopped and all shinobi that have fled are returning." He nodded. "Good. Make sure that there are no repercussions for them. I do not care why they left so long as they returned." "Of course." I nodded. "What of the Jinchuriki?" At this point, the representative from Sunageki rose, bearing the codename Tanuki. "At the moment, only two of them are unaccounted for. The Yambi and the Gobi are still missing. They are both from the same village, so it is likely that they have already been captured by the Akatsuki. Until we have confirmation of this result, I want the search for them to continue." "The locations of the others?" "The Ichibi is still with Suna, of course. The Nibi and the Hachibi are already with you along with the Kyuubi. The Sanbai is in hiding somewhere in Nizuno Kuni. We are not sure if it has a Jinchuriki at the moment though, while the Rokubi is still wandering the elemental nations. We have had no word on him at all yet, but our informants are still looking for him. Lastly, the Nanabai is in Takigakure, kept under heavy guard, so she is not captured yet." "I see. Which of the ones we do not have with us has the highest probability of getting attacked next?" "It will either be the Nanabai or the Ichibi. Since we have yet to find the exact location of the Sanbai, it is very unlikely that the Akatsuki has either, and the Rokubi is a powerful shinobi, and wanders so much that he is near impossible to find," Tanuki replied. "Very good. Make sure that we have operatives ready to move in case Akatsuki does. Which brings me to the next matter of business. It is time to start expanding our influence. We are no longer a small-time group struggling to survive. I intend to let the entire world see our strength." "Is this such a good idea?" I asked. "The other shinobi nations might view this as an act of war." "Let them. For a few nations it is such." The man grinned. "I intend to keep all of the obligations that I have made, and I will see that all of my allies are given what they have earned through blood, sweat, and tears." "Of course." I nodded. "But wouldn't it be best to wait a bit longer, to make sure that we can make such moves?" "I know that we can." "So what will the first move be?" a man asked. "I intend to defend the Jinchuriki that will be targeted by making sure that they are under watch until we have allied with their homes or conquered them. I will send emissaries to all of the nations that we have agreed upon. Once they have been sent, then we will wait for the replies. Hopefully they will be favorable. Once that is done, I will be leading select parties to try and convince the nations that do not have shinobi forces to back us. I am hopeful that they will accept." "And if they do not?" the man asked. "I will simply lay siege to them as if they were any other enemy. There will be no third parties in this, only those with or against us." "Of course, sir." They all nodded. Now if there is no other business, then you are all dismissed. Yes, sir. They all nodded as they rose to leave the meeting room as the man went to the window and looked over the village below. Everything all right? A asked, looking at him. I guess. I am worried that I am doing the wrong thing. Kid, you have done the best you can. Hell, you've done more for this village than for any other person ever has. A grin. Besides, from what you told me, you have already done all you can the old way. Too true. There are only a few places that we will without a doubt destroy. Save as many as are worth saving and let the rest burn. You are a true leader. I would hope so. I am the son of a great leader. Yeah. And have the support of another one. Really, who? He laughed as A glared at him. In Konoha things were different. The Genin 11, as they were called at the time, had each grown up into a force to be reckoned with. All of them were now Jonin rank, and each of them were well known in and out of the village. Team Guy had each gone their separate ways, though they still saw each other as much as possible. Tenten had become an ANBU commander, leading missions that dealt were usually too dangerous for other shinobi. Lee was also a Jonin, despite his taijutsu being his only skill, and was often called the Konoha no Naiden Kedakaki Aoi Moju, Konoha's second sublime green beast of prey. Niji was a Jonin as well, leading search and destroy missions more than anything else. Team 10 remained a solid team even now, often referred to as the Neo Inoshikacho, with them also well known separately, with Shikamaru as the genius, able to turn around any losing situation into a winning one, Ino as a masterful manipulator, and Choji as a strong fighter that was also jokingly called the gentle giant due to his size. The remains of Team 7 were well known but treated with scorn by the rest of the Genin 11. Sakura had been trained as a medic nin, at the council's demand, forcing her to be taught by Tsunade, who did so grudgingly and only enough so that the girl wouldn't kill herself or another. Sasuke had been spared any punishment, with the counselor saying that it had been the cursed seal that had caused him to act the way he did. Thus was the seal permanently sealed away with the help of Jiraiya. Sasuke was a strong nin, and while he knew the others hated him, with the exception of Sakura, he didn't care so long as he got the chance to kill his brother like Danzo had promised him. Lastly, Team 8 had disbanded, with Kiba and Shino still being main parts of tracking teams, though Kiba and Akamaru were often called for combat missions, while Hinata had gone in a completely different direction. She had gone to Tsunade for training and had been accepted with open arms, learning all of the Hokage's secrets, and soon becoming a first-class medic that rivaled Tsunade in ability. She had also disowned her clan after learning what her father had done, and now lived on her own, and thanks to a technicality in the law she didn't have the curse seal placed on her. She was now an ANBU agent as well, serving Tsunade directly, and after leaving her clan she had started to learn any and all jutsu that she could, making herself an even greater threat to any opponent that she was pitted against. Currently she was sitting in the small bedroom of her apartment, planning on what to do with her day off. Normally she didn't take too many days off since they left her thinking about Naruto and worrying if he was okay. And while his letters did help ease her concern considerably, she could always feel that there was something that he wasn't telling her. Sighing, she stood up and started walking to the closet, going through her clothes and deciding on a pair of dark purple pants and a matching shirt. Hinata was a great beauty among the people of Konoha, with her turning down dates left and right, with the help of Kiba for those who were too dense or too determined to stop. She had let her hair grow out to her waist, and the years had given her face a more womanly look to it instead of the adorable girl next door look. With a nod she walked out of her apartment just in time to see Anko walking up towards her. Hey! The Jonin smiled as she approached. Anko-san? Hinata smiled as she looked at the snake user. I got mail for you. She grinned as she handed Hinata a sealed envelope. From him? Hinata asked with a spark in her eye. Yep. She nodded. Now I'd love to stay and chat, but I promised Kurenai-chan that I'd meet her for lunch. Especially since she doesn't have to watch little Haru today. Over the 4 years Asuma and Kurenai had gotten married and now had a 2-year-old child named Haru, who was the apple of their eye. Of course. Send my best to Kurenai-sensei. Hinata grinned as the Jonin left in a shun's way. Looking at the writing on the front she knew that it was Naruto's handwriting immediately. After all, no one can replicate that messy scrawl. Hinata mentally giggled. Opening the envelope she saw a single letter to her, though there wasn't much written there, which struck her as unusual. To my dearest Hinata-chan, I know that this is probably my shortest letter to you and there is so much that I want to talk to you about. However, since a letter can be reread, I feel that this information is best given to you in person. If you would be able to meet me at the Valley of the End as soon as you can, I will explain everything to you. I know that I have kept some secrets from you, but I am ready to at least tell you some of them. I look forward to seeing you again. Yours and yours alone, Naruto. Hinata reread the letter a few times to make sure that she was indeed reading what she thought she had. Letting out a squeal, she leapt up quickly onto the rooftops, heading for the Hokage Tower. Tsunade was currently setting aside a massive stack of papers, all of them complete, and looking at her somewhat empty desk. It was rare for there to be so little paperwork, but with a small break she leaned back and opened a new bottle of sake. Just after taking her first sip of the drink, the door was burst open as Hinata came running in. "I need to take some time off," she shouted as Tsunade spat out the sake, trying to breath. "What?" she asked. "I need some time off. Starting today." "Why?" Tsunade asked, confused. Normally the girl had to be forced to take a day off of work, but now she just came barging in demanding for days off. "It's personal," she said with a blush coming to her face and Tsunade starting to grin. "It's about Naruto, isn't it?" "Yes, it's a private matter though." Hinata nodded. "Fine. Will a week be enough?" "Plenty. Thank you, Hokage-sama." Hinata bowed. "It's nothing. Just make sure that you send the Gaki my best wishes, along with the rest of those who miss him," Tsunade replied as Hinata nodded before running off. It took all of a few minutes to get packed and have the apartment locked up before she was out of the village before anyone could notice. Leaping through the trees, she was ecstatic about seeing Naruto again after 4 years. His letters had said that he had been doing well and that he was still training to be a strong shinobi, even though it wouldn't be for Konoha. He even said that he found allies, though he refused to elaborate more than that when she asked about it. She in turn had told him all about what had been going on in Konoha, how Konohamaru and his friends had pranked Konoha for days straight, and to this day they continued to do so on a regular basis, sparing only the Konoha 11, with the exception of Sasuke and Sakura, Tsunade, and the shinobi counselors that had supported Naruto and voted against his banishment, or had protested it after they had learned what had occurred. After several hours, Hinata stopped, looking at the valley where Naruto had battled Sasuke, and not for the first time was awed by the damage done to the landscape. Sitting on the head of Hashirama Senju, she looked down at the valley, visualizing the battle that had taken place here more than 4 years ago. Once weary of this, Hinata set up her tent under some of trees in the forest and waited for Naruto to arrive. Late that night, in a flash of orange, Naruto appeared on the head of Madara Uchiha and looked down at the damage that he had caused all of those years ago. "A scar of the battle between us," he muttered as he looked across the valley to see that Hinata was already there, in her tent just getting ready for bed. "I shouldn't bother her just yet. She can see me tomorrow." With that, he leapt across and landed with a small thud before he stood up. He had grown much taller in the passing years, easily as tall as Jiraiya. Now his blonde hair was still standing in his usual spikes that he had when he was a kid, though now he kept a shoulder-length ponytail. He wore black mostly, though his pants and shirt had orange trim to them. Over the shirt was a black coat with a golden sunburst on the back, the symbol for Yugir. The coat reached his ankles and had twin flaps so he could reach his mother's sword on his left side and the other sword that he had gotten in his travels. The sword was one of a set of 5, with each one representing the 5 basic elements of the world. His sword was named Ryujingafu, Raging Wind, and it was one of the most devastating weapons that he had in his possession. Smiling as he saw Hinata's fire go out and heard her crawling into her tent, he sat on the ground, meditating on how much he could tell Hinata now, and how much apologizing he would have to do later once he began his plan or once it was completed. Morning came too quickly for Hinata, who, once deciding that rolling over wouldn't make her go back to sleep, rose, brushing her hair and trying to at least look presentable if Naruto was going to be arriving today. Exiting the tent, she saw a figure sitting on the ground, facing the valley. Grinning as she saw the blonde hair, she moved as quietly as she could, and once she was right behind him, leapt at him to hug him, only for him to turn and stand up, catching her before she could ram into him. "Good to see you too, Hinata-chan." Naruto grinned as he kissed her, feeling her start to lean on him more as her legs tried to give out on her. Once the kiss was done, did he sit her down with him and smiled. "I'm happy that you got my letter," Naruto said. "I was worried that you wouldn't be here today, but that was put to rest last night." "You were here?" she exclaimed. "Yeah. You were already going to bed by the time I arrived, and I couldn't disturb such a beautiful angel's sleep, so I just waited for you to wake up." He grinned as she stared at him, before smacking the back of his head. "What was that for?" "That was for not disturbing me. I don't care if you had walked in on me in the shower. I haven't seen you in years. I wanted to see you as soon as possible," she ranted as he blinked at her. "In the shower? Are you trying to imply something, my dear Hinata-chan?" he asked as she blushed a deep crimson color. "No," she said as she tried to keep whatever scrap of pride that she had left. "Okay then, but I am remembering this for a later day." He laughed as she tried to glare at him, but the blush made it look adorable instead of menacing. "So what did you want to tell me?" Hinata asked, hoping that it would change the topic. Straight to the point then. Naruto nodded. What do you know about a group called Yugir? Nothing really. There are only rumors in Konoha. Most shinobi think it's nothing more than that since they haven't set foot in Hai no Kuni yet. And what do you think? I know that from Tsunade they have footholds in several different countries and are either based in Kaminari no Kuni or Haru no Kuni, Hinata replied. I see. Well then I do have some talking to do then. Naruto nodded to begin. Yugir does exist, as a counterbalance to Akatsuki I guess you could say. They seek the Jinchuriki, those who carry the Biju in them, but not to kill them, but to protect them. They have approached you? Hinata asked as Naruto gave her a look that said he wanted an explanation, getting a blush of embarrassment from her before he got her mumbled reply. I read your file in the Hokage's office. I see. Then you know about the furry pain in the ass then. Naruto grinned. Anyways, they seek peace throughout the shinobi world by whatever means necessary, and while there is a hierarchy they care about all of their members, making sure that they can at least try to accomplish their dreams. How do you know so much? I'm a member. Naruto replied with a grin as he showed her the back of the coat. This is the symbol that we use. We are the fading light that will not be extinguished. We won't fail where others have. Why didn't you tell me this? Because it was too dangerous. We just recently got ourselves established firmly, and we will be seeking to expand our power soon. I wanted to at least tell you this much. Is there more? Hinata asked, looking at Naruto as he looked at the ground. Naruto-kun. I can't say any more at the moment. I've already broken code by telling you this much. When we join we are supposed to act in the best interest of the group, not ourselves. My telling you all of this has no gain for the group and a lot of loss if you tell the wrong people. Do you think I will? No. That's why I am telling you. Soon you are going to start hearing a lot about us, and I just want you to know that while some of the actions may be true, none of the reasons that you hear from the people will be. I see. And what do they have planned for Konoha? I can't tell you. Naruto said as he looked at her. There is too much at stake to tell you, or anyone from Konoha. I don't want you taken to Ibiki because I told you information and you refused to explain to them how you know it. I see. If you think that this is best then I will trust you. Hinata smiled as she kissed him. Besides, if you are a member this group cannot be all that bad. I would hope not. We seek world peace, but sometimes the only way to fix something is to break it again. We had to do that in Kaminari no Kuni. They split into factions when we made our proposal, and so we had to fight and take over to make sure that things would turn out for the best. Naruto explained. The death of a few to save many. Hinata replied. I know how that is. We aren't children anymore, Naruto. We all know that sometimes the only way to bring peace is to kill those that would seek to destroy it. Yeah, but we don't have to like it. At least we can say that we try talking things out first, before we get violent. That's all that anyone could ask for. With that the two continued talking about their lives, learning about the details that they hadn't or wouldn't put onto paper. By late nightfall the two had fallen asleep in Hinata's tent, wrapped in each other's arms. The next day Naruto and Hinata were sitting on the heads again when Naruto took out a kunai that was glowing. What's that? Hinata asked. A signal. I'm needed back with Yugir. He sighed. Do you have to go? Unfortunately yes. But I will come see you again as soon as I get the chance. Naruto promised. Besides, I will still write to you, and who knows, maybe we will meet again soon. I suppose we'll be safe. Hinata smiled as they kissed, deepening it as Naruto's tongue started probing Hinata's mouth, earning a moan from her. After the separated, Hinata fought the urge to faint as Naruto grinned and disappeared in a flash, leaving her standing there before she gave in to the fainting, a smile on her face. Naruto appeared in his room as one of the messengers walked in. What is it? Naruto asked. What was so important that I was needed back so quickly? Sir, we have news that is rather important, the shinobi said. Fine. Naruto sighed as he grabbed his mask, placing it over his face. Walking behind the man he arrived in the meeting room to see that Tanuki was there. Kitsune. We have news, Tanuki said. What news? We have the whereabouts of the two missing Jinchuriki. They are currently hiding in Shimo no Kuni. I see. This is good fortune. They are close enough where we can get them here and offer them protection from the Akatsuki. Yes, but there is a problem, Kitsune. What is that? They are being pursued by the Akatsuki. Do we know which members? There are 4 of them from what we understand. One group we assume is Itachi Uchiha and Kisame Hashigaki, while the other group we have no idea. Fine. I need a squad ready to move out, and alert Nami that I require her assistance. He ordered as Tanuki nodded before walking off. Once the squad had gathered, Nami skipped in. She was very short, only at Naruto's stomach in height, and her black hair had been brushed to shine. She wore black pants and a black shirt with the golden sunburst taking up almost the entire front of the shirt. On her back was a small kodachi, and she wore a mask almost identical to Haku's before he had been killed, with the exception that the swirl pattern was blue instead of red. So we get to go play? Nami asked happily. Yeah, we get to play with the Akatsuki today. He nodded as he looked to the four nin that made up the rescue squad. Alright, you all know the plan. Nami and I will go hold off the Akatsuki while you all locate the two Jinchuriki. Do not engage them, they are to be saved, not killed. Make sure that you get them across the border into Kaminari no Kuni as quickly as you can. Understood? Yes, sir. The four nodded as they each grabbed hands and Kitsune warped them to their hideout in Shimo no Kuni. Once they walked out, they quickly checked the coordinates of where they each were supposed to go and split up, with Kitsune and Nami quickly moving to cut off the four Akatsuki members. After near an hour of running, the pair found the four Akatsuki members. You shall go no further, Kitsune said as the two of them stopped in front of them. Looking down at the four, Kitsune quickly recognized the four. Itachi stood by Kisame. He looked a little more haggard than he had the last time. Kisame seemed the same, his sharp grin plastered on his face as he saw the pair. Next to them were Sasori, known as Akasuna no Sasori from his time in Sunigakure, a small hunchbacked person so it seemed, but the two Yugir members both knew that that form was a puppet that was controlled from the inside by his real form. Beside him was Deidara the IWA bomber, who was well known for his terrorist acts before he had become a member of the Akatsuki. What do we have here? Two people stand before us, with one, if not both, of them wearing the sunburst of Yugir. Sasori noted, you must be confident if you are here to fight us. Confidence comes with ability, Kitsune retorted. So it does. Sasori nodded. However, I believe that it is pretentious of you to think that you both can oppose the four of us. Is it? Well, there is only one way to find out. He laughed. Shall we? It seems that there is no other way. Itachi nodded as he prepared for a fight while Kisame swung Samehada down. Nodding, Kitsune and Nami took off, Kitsune heading straight for Itachi and Kisame, unleashing a quick spinning kick on Itachi, who went skidding back from the blow as Kitsune ducked and weaved around Kisame's massive weapon. Nami stopped in front of the pair and looked at them for a moment before asking them, do you want to play with me? Play? Sasori asked. Yeah. She nodded. Well, maybe we will play. But first answer a question. Okay. Nami laughed as Deidara looked at Sasori confused. My partner here and I have been having a debate for some time, and maybe you can help decide it. He said we are arguing over what true art is. Do you think that art is something that should last throughout the ages, or something that should be there for a second before it fades away? Like fireworks? Nami asked. I suppose, Deidara muttered, but my art is better than fireworks. Really? Nami asked. I like fireworks, they are so pretty and bright. See? Deidara exclaimed while Sasori shook his head. But I like drawing too. Kitsune has taken me to a few museums to look at artwork there. I like those too. Nami giggled. See? Sasori laughed. She has sense, she can appreciate art in all of its forms. I suppose. Deidara sighed. So can we play now? Nami asked, looking at the two. I suppose. But we only play with our art, Deidara said as he reached into his two bags at his side before taking out two clay birds. Oh, that's pretty. Yeah, well, you know what they say. He laughed as one turned into a bird that he leapt onto and took off into the air before sending the second one down to destroy her art is a blast. An explosion tore through the ground, covering it in a cloud of dust as Sasori moved out of it, extending his poisoned tail into it to try and bring out the corpse, or so he thought it would be the corpse when he suddenly felt something land on his tail and was running along it, out of the cloud. Nami appeared out of the cloud, leaping into the air where she started a massive amount of hand signs. Suiton, Suryudan no Jutsu, Water Dragon Bullet Technique, she shouted as a large water dragon appeared, smashing into Sasori, crushing the puppet. Grinning, Nami landed among the wreckage before flipping away from a poison blade that rose from the real Sasori as he emerged from the wreckage. That was unexpected, he noted. Yeah. She didn't even use a body of water, Deidara noted as he sent down a massive stream of bombs at the young girl who had already started another set of hand signs. Suiton, Suijin Hiki, Water Encampment Wall, she said as she created the water barrier, letting it stop all of the explosions from hitting her. This girl is good. She must be a prodigy in order to use these techniques with no water source, Sasori said as he took out a scroll, releasing the Sandaime Kazekage. This is fun. Don't stop now. Nami laughed as she continued the battle. During all of this, Kitsune was using only his taijutsu skills to duck and weave around the two while still managing to get attacks in on the two despite their efforts. He isn't half bad. Kisame grinned as he swung Samahata at him, noticing that it wasn't eating any chakra. He is rather powerful. Itachi nodded as he sent a fireball at Kitsune, who rolled away from it before he stopped and sighed loudly. I was hoping to not have to draw these, but since this is getting tiring I have no choice. What? Kisame and Itachi said at the same time as Kitsune drew his two swords. I will let you taste true terror before I finish with you, he vowed as he charged forward, swinging Gaara at Itachi, who ducked around the slash as Kisame swung Samahata down on him as he raised Ryujingifu to block. Suddenly Samahata let out a scream of pain as it moved away from the katana that was touching it, and Kisame leapt away looking concerned. What is wrong? Itachi asked. It's Samahata. It's crying in pain, he said looking at Kitsune. It's saying that sword was trying to cut it in two. That's ridiculous. Itachi muttered. How could that sword do any damage to Samahata? Because of the type of sword that it is, Kitsune replied looking at them. You should know its name, Kisame, Ryujingifu. Kisame stiffened at that name before nodding his head. It's one of a set of 5, this sword being the sword of wind enhances my elemental affinity greatly. Samahata was right. My sword was trying to cut it in two. Swinging the blade to make a point, the slash tore through the ground, even though the blade never touched it. A wind affinity. Itachi noted. No wonder you aren't using any ninjutsu against us, you would be at a disadvantage with my fire affinity. Not really. I just didn't want to end this too quickly. He shrugged as he charged at them, swinging both the swords as he flowed from one strike to the next as though it was some deadly dance. Kisame was worried. He knew that he couldn't use Samahata against the masked blonde since it would be damaged even more, and his ninjutsu was next to useless with the lack of water nearby. However, he couldn't keep dodging forever. Suddenly Kitsune let out a burst of chakra and kicked Kisame, sending him flying into a massive pile of rocks several dozen yards away. Turning, he faced Itachi and started speaking while slashing at the Uchiha. So tell me, why do you continue to serve Akatsuki? He asked. What do you mean? Itachi asked. You must be here for a reason that I don't know of, especially since it couldn't be for Konoha anymore. Kitsune continued as he noticed Itachi blink. So tell me, why would you stay with a group when the information that you are reporting back to your home isn't even being used until it is far too late? Why do you stay with them, playing the villain when you could be doing something even more with your life? Tell me, Itachi Uchiha, what is it that you want? Itachi was flustered by this and caught off guard as he was sent flying away as Kitsune dodged Samahata being swung where he had been standing. And what about you, Kisame? Why do you serve Akatsuki? Is it because of some promise made to the man behind the curtain, or because you feel some loyalty to the true Yodei Mizukage? Oh yes, I know that Yugir was being controlled, but I don't know by who, but that isn't important right now. So tell me, do you fight with them because of loyalty, or just because you enjoy being a force of destruction, because either one could be better used? You are loyal to a man who is just going to throw you away once your usefulness has ended. Or you just want to fight until there is no one left to fight, or until you are dead and there are better things to do with your life than senseless destruction. So tell me, Kisame Hashigaki, what is it that you want? Kitsune asked as he forced the Nin to dodge around his blades, moving him further away. Suddenly his comlink went off, alerting him and Nami that the two Jinchuriki had been recovered and they were over the border. Well, it seems that we are out of time for today. Kitsune laughed as he sheathed his swords. Think on what I have said today. I can only tell you this, your talents could be much better used. Bye-bye. Nami giggled. It was fun playing with you too. Let's play again sometime. With that, Nami leapt over by Kitsune, who picked her up and took off at a sprint, leaving the 4 Akatsuki members standing there on the battlefield confused. What just happened? Deidara asked. We were distracted, Sasori stated by a little girl. That was no little girl. Deidara growled. That girl was something else. Itachi stood there staring in the direction that Kitsune had left in, his mind in havoc over what Kitsune had said. He had known the truth about him and his leaving of Konoha, that only 4 living people to this day knew about, other than himself. Shaking his head, he knew that Kitsune wouldn't have said those things if he didn't expect Itachi to look into them, and Itachi had a feeling that what he was going to find was exactly what Kitsune wanted him to find. Kisame was just as shaken as Itachi. No one was supposed to know about Yugir being controlled, only him and the guy in the mask. Now here was some guy in another mask spouting out that information like it was nothing. And what he was saying was true. Why was Kisame still there? It wasn't for the destruction, that much was certain, but he wasn't so sure that it was for the loyalty that he stayed. He knew that he wouldn't be allowed to leave simply because of the fact that he was the only other person to know about the master plan, the real reason that they were gathering the Biju. Frowning, the two partners looked at each other and nodded before walking away. Where are you two going? Deidara shouted. There is no reason to be here. They were sent to distract us while the Yambi and the Gobi were taken across the border into Kaminari no Kuni, the one country that we cannot get into. Itachi replied, so we are leaving. Without looking back, the two walked away, both deep in thought and both barely noticing the other man that they walked beside. Kitsune and Nami, once clear of the Akatsuki, stopped to take a breather while Kitsune was checking Nami for any injuries and was pleased to see that she had none. You did good today. He nodded to her. Thanks. She laughed. I had fun playing with them. How many puppets did you break? Only the one. That other puppet he took out was way too strong for me. Nami sighed. That's fine. You are still growing. One day you will be stronger than all of his puppets put together. Kitsune laughed as Nami looked at him. Really? She asked with hope. Definitely. He nodded. With a cheer, she hugged him as he warped to where the squad had agreed to meet. After the scenery settled, Kitsune noted the two newcomers. One was an older man with red hair and beard, wearing purple pants and shirt, with brown armor over it. On his head was a brown headpiece that showed his Iwagakure headband as well as a ring on the right side of the protector, while below this was a strap of metal that ran over the bridge of his nose and around his head. The other man was wearing red armor that covered his entire body, and the lower half of his face. On his back was a furnace, and he wore a red kasa on his head with his headband wrapped around his forehead. Over the armor he wore a black gi, and he had black gloves on his hand. Overall, both of them were different, yet they seemed bound together. Who are you two? The one in the armor asked in an angry tone. My codename is Kitsune. Hers is Nami. We were sent to delay the Akatsuki from capturing and killing you two while our comrades escorted you here, where the Akatsuki can no longer get you without declaring war on every nation that have ties to. He said as he took a seat, making a hand sign that the others were to leave the general area while he talked with these two. Once the order was complied with, Naruto removed the mask and looked at the two. Let's do this again. My name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, he said. Namikaze? The one in purple huffed, so you are his kid. I take it you know of my father. Of course I do. He is well hated in IWA. The man nodded. So what may I call you too? Naruto asked. I'm Rashi, the Jinchuriki of the Yambi. Rashi nodded. Han. Gobi. The other nodded. Okay. Anyway, I am here to make you two an offer. Offer? Han asked. Yeah. You see, Yugir seeks to gather the Jinchuriki, so that they may be safe, and if they so choose, to fight against those who would threaten them. Naruto began. We would like you both to join us. Why should we? Rashi asked. Because the Akatsuki are hunting you. And if I can help it, I would have all of the Jinchuriki standing together. What do you know about the Jinchuriki? Rashi asked. I know that they are always related to a Kage. Naruto began as he let Rashi start to piece together what he was saying. I know that they are hated by their homes, often chased out or banished. I also know that they can be the strongest of shinobi, and even become Kages if they have the drive to do so. I see. Rashi grinned as he realized the fact. Which one are you? The Kyuubi. Naruto nodded as Han's eyes widened. I was banished because of their fear, and I created Yugir because of it. So we are speaking to the boss. Rashi grinned. All right, well, you have already saved us, but I have to ask, why should we join you? For starters, we have two other Jinchuriki among our ranks, so you wouldn't be alone. The entire organization knows about us and accepts us. And we can guarantee that we will do all within our power to help you meet your dreams. Naruto said. What are your dreams? The pair looked at each other before Rashi started speaking again. Me, well, I don't really have any dreams anymore. I've hit that age where they just fade away. Rashi replied. But if I have to say one, I always dreamed of leading people. Maybe not into battle, but to lead them, to do something great with a group, to say we did this together. A very honorable dream. Naruto nodded as he looked at Han, who seemed lost in thought. After a few moments he spoke. Family. I dream of having a family. Family. I can understand that desire. Han, it may not be much, but you can be part of my family. You can be my brother. Naruto said as he offered a hand while the man stared at him before hugging him. Brothers don't shake hands, brothers hug. he said as he started crushing Naruto. After a few moments, Naruto was released and Rashi was snickering. You probably just did something that can never be revoked, the older man noted. I don't mind. So will you two be joining us? Naruto asked. I will. Han nodded. I have no reason to decline. Besides, now that IWA has cast us out, I can do some good here. You control your beast yet? Rashi asked. Yes and no, Naruto said as he let out a loud whistle that told them they were allowed to start moving again. What do you mean? Rashi asked. Either you do or you don't. Well, the thing is that I can control it in a different way where I don't have the tails showing. That I can fully control, but where the tails are showing, I can control up to 6 with just the chakra around me, and when I combine it into a human form I can get to 8 tails, but I almost swallowed by the Kyuubi. Naruto explained. Odd. What did you do to get this? Well, the full control was thanks to a training method that the Jinchuriki of the Hachibi taught me, while the others are just pure force of will. I see. Well, I might be able to help you out. I do have full control of my demon, and Han here has almost full control himself, but the Irakama, dolphin horse, is really laid back and is willing to work with humans. Rashi replied. It's true. But he doesn't want to help more than he feels that you are worthy of. Han replied. Nodding, Naruto continued to talk to the pair until the return to Kumogakure, where the pair were taken to rooms where they could relax and money to get anything that they wanted to get from the city. For the following days, Naruto reviewed the reports that his diplomats were sending him, and noting how several countries wanted to meet with the leader of Yugir before they could say anything for certain. Frowning at these requests, he decided that the best way to deal with this would be to comply with them, and hope that they would at least listen to what he had to say. Let's see. I need to visit Takigakure today, and hopefully convince them to join us, and if things go well I can also visit with Sunagakure. I'd like to get one of the big ones out of the way today, Naruto muttered as he dressed that morning. Once ready, he grabbed his mask and hiroshined to the rooms where his diplomats were at. Kitsune. One of the diplomats nodded. The leader, Shibuki, is waiting for you. Thank you. I will go see him now. He nodded as he walked out of the room, walking down the hall where he found the meeting room. Sitting at a table was a single man, with long dark brown hair and inky black eyes. He wore gray pants and a green shirt and had the headband for Takigakure on his forehead. Kitsune nodded to the leader of the village as he took a seat. So you are the infamous leader of Yugir? Shibuki noted. That I am. I figured you would be bigger. Don't judge by size. Often the smallest of people can prove to be the greatest of fighters. True. So your diplomats tell me that you wish to form an alliance with us. I did not know that you were a country. Shibuki grinned. We are not. We, however, have 2 countries backing us, Kaminari no Kuni and Haru no Kuni. So why us? To be blunt, we seek all of the lands to join us. We seek to unite the world, to create world peace. That is why we have sent emissaries to almost every country. Kitsune replied. And what would we gain out of this partnership? Technology, trade and training, Kitsune replied. Really? Care to explain? Of course. Haru no Kuni is developing great technological wonders that are at the disposal of Yugir and all of its allies, so anyone that agrees to join us is given the right to get these. Trade is the next big one. You would be given access to far-off lands that you wouldn't have been able to reach before. Tell me, have you ever traded with Nami no Kuni? No, we have not. They are too far off for trade to be practical. That would change with us. Nami no Kuni is likely to join us soon, once I visit them to sign the treaty. If you ally with us, you will be able to get such rarities that your country will flourish. And training? That is the most important to a shinobi, like yourself. We will have members of Yugir come and help train your shinobi, to make them a greater force to be reckoned with. We will make your village a true world power before we are done. I see. You know that we have an alliance with Konoha, Shibuki remarked. I do. That is the one thing that we will ask that you change. What do you mean? Our organization seeks to allow all of its members a chance to accomplish their dreams, and one of our members wants Konoha destroyed for what they did to him. And you are going to do this? I will. Kitsune nodded. For the greater good, I will fight against Konoha without a moment's hesitation. Greater good? What greater good? Shibuki spat. The unification of the entire elemental nations. I will have all of them standing together in a true peace. Once forged from trust and understanding, with Yugir maintaining that peace. That sounds more like a conquered world. It isn't. We will be at the mercy of the people. They will choose which ones of us will be working for them, who will be best serving their interest. So if they called for you to step down, you would? Shibuki asked in surprise. With a smile on my face and offer my services to the next leader of Yugir. Kitsune nodded. We seek a true peace, but that can only be achieved by eliminating those that would seek to destroy it. I don't know. Tell me, do you remember a young blonde-haired Konoha shinobi that helped save this place? Yes, Naruto Uzumaki. Do you know that he was banished? Yes. Konoha never explained what happened, but we trusted them, and assumed that he broke some law and he was punished accordingly. Shibuki replied. Then you have been fooled. Kitsune sighed as he removed the mask. Naruto. The one and only. He sighed as he looked at Shibuki. Let me tell you the real reason why I was banished. With that, Naruto retold his tale, of chasing down Sasuke, of how he had battled with him at the Valley of the End, and how he had been banished for simply beating Sasuke up too much. Shibuki listened in shock. He had never expected to hear that Naruto had done nothing wrong, and worse, had only done his job. Naruto, I am sorry, Shibuki said. Save it. I don't want an apology. The only thing I want from you is for you to ally with Yugir. Naruto grinned. Won't be diverted, I see. He sighed. Very well. I cannot in good faith keep dealing with Konoha knowing this. We will cut off our ties with them and will ally ourselves with you. That is all I needed to hear. Naruto smiled as he stood up and shook Shibuki's hand. Once the papers are all drawn up, we will become official allies. Until then, I will leave my diplomatic party here, in case Konoha decides to get violent over you severing yourself from them. Thank you. Shibuki nodded. Is there anything else? Just one more thing. Who is the Jinchuriki of the Nanabai? You mean Fu? Shibuki asked, confused. Why are you interested in her? I have business with her. Where can I find her? She lives up in the tree where we get the hero water from. Shibuki replied. Up near the top. Thank you. Naruto nodded as he left the meeting, walking out into the town and crossing the water to where the tree stood. Climbing up, Naruto noted that there were a lot of bugs up near the top, and most gave way to him, though a few watched him from a distance. Stopping, Naruto saw a small hollowed-out area where the bark was worn down from constant travel. Walking over to the branch, he stopped when he heard buzzing around him, only to see thousands of insects surrounding him. I wouldn't go any further than that. A woman's voice said from the door in the tree. They wouldn't hesitate in killing you. I doubt that they would be able to stop me. Naruto mused as he stared at the door, but since it would be discourteous to not listen to my hostess, I will wait until you are willing to let me inside. With that, Naruto stood and stared at the door for several minutes before it was opened and a young woman walked out. She was shorter than Naruto, with mint green hair with an orange hair clip in it, orange eyes that showed distrust at the world. She wore a white sleeveless shirt that showed her midriff and the fishnet armor underneath it, a white apron skirt with fishnet shorts on underneath that, white armlets that covered her entire forearms, with her headband was wrapped around her right arm, and on her back was a red cylindrical object. Fu stared at Naruto for several seconds before she spoke. I've never seen you before. You come to stare at me like all of the other foreigners? She spat. Not at all. I've come to make you an offer. Naruto replied. If I may come inside so we may speak in comfort. Fine, Fu said as she nodded at the bugs to let him pass. Walking in, Naruto noted that the furnishings were all very simple and that each was handmade. So what is your offer? Fu asked as she took a seat. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. You're one of the Konoha shinobi that helped save this place. I was. However, I am no longer a Konohagakure shinobi. I was banished for doing my job. For the hatred towards me, for a burden that we both bear. Naruto said as Fu eyed him warily. What do you mean? I am a Jinchuriki, of the Kyuubi. Naruto said as he took a seat. It's because of this that I know your pain. I've come to offer you to join my organization, to become one of our numbers. To be a weapon. Fu spat. I've heard it before. Not a weapon. Naruto shook his head. To be a member. At the moment we have 5 Jinchuriki, counting myself, as members of our organization. We seek all of them so we can protect them from the Akatsuki. Why? Surely the rest of the humans would want us gone. Not with Yugir. Everyone accepts us for what we are, and if others do not, then that is their problem. We want everyone to have a chance to accomplish their dreams. Tell me, Fu, do you have any dreams? Dreams? Fu asked. Yeah. Goals, or something that you want to do before you die. Naruto explained. I suppose I do. I want to be accepted, not feared and hated. I understand. The life of a Jinchuriki can be a lonely one, especially when you are hated and despised by those that you protect. Naruto nodded. If you join us, I can promise that you will not be hated or discriminated. That you will be given all of the respect that you are due. How can you guarantee that? Because I am the one in charge of this organization. I created it after I was banished from Konoha, an organization where anything is possible and we all look out for each other. Naruto smiled. And let me at least tell you what you will be given when you join us. Fine, Fu muttered. You will be given a code name to use when out in the field. The Jinchurikis are already assigned, with yours being Kabutomushi. Very original. Fu snorted as Naruto just stared at her. Anyways, you will also be given a mask that can hide your chakra from others when you channel it into the mask. And you will be given command over your own regiment of shinobi. Command? Fu exclaimed. I get to be in charge? Of course. All of the Jinchuriki are given their own unit to command, with each one being tailored to that one's personal style. My unit is a combat unit, for example. What are your strengths? I've always been a spy, keeping track of the enemies thanks to my ability with bugs. Fu replied. Then your unit can be in charge of gathering intel. That unit has been reporting to Tanuki, but I can have them start reporting to you once you are ready to join. Naruto nodded. I don't know, this is a big decision. I know. However, I think you are ready for this. You seem to be strong, and while you still have hatred in you, I think that time with Yugir will help you sort that out. Naruto nodded. I guess. Look, you don't have to choose right this second, but keep in mind that we would be more than happy to have you among our numbers. Naruto grinned. If you have any questions, feel free to send them to Kumogakure. I will receive them from there. Nodding, he stood up and walked out of her home, walking down the tree until he was on the ground. He wasn't more than halfway across the lake when suddenly he was smashed into the water by a heavy force. Surfacing, he saw that Fu had leapt down from the top of the tree and landed on top of him, knocking him into the water. I decided. I want to join you. Fu grinned as Naruto shook his head at her. Was that really necessary? He asked. Of course it was. Fu laughed as she helped him up. Sighing, Naruto walked back to Shibuki, letting him know that Fu was coming with him and that she was now a member of Yugir. So she is no longer one of our shinobi? He asked. That's right. She is now one of my comrades. Naruto nodded as Fu handed back the headband. Very well. I thank you for your service to our village, Fu, and hope that things turn out well for you wherever you go. Shibuki nodded at her. Now I must excuse myself while I make sure that all of the papers are drawn up correctly. Of course. Thank you. Naruto nodded as Fu just watched him go. With that, the pair returned to Kumogakure, where Naruto let her go to her rooms and then receive a tour of the village. Rashi-B, Naruto said as he saw the two older Jinchuriki. Yes? Rashi asked as the pair stopped. Get your masks. We are heading to Sunagakure. I intend to have them become our allies today, no delays. Naruto said as he took out his mask. No need to crash, we'll be ready in a flash. B grinned as the two headed off to gather what they would need in order to handle the harsh heat. 20 minutes later, the pair were ready and were warping to Suna. Once they arrived, they stood inside the village walls, with a group of Sunagakure shinobi quickly surrounding them. You are from Yugir? One asked. Yes. Kitsune nodded. We are here to see the Kazekage and the council. Of course. I will escort you to the tower. The man nodded as they walked. Once inside the tower, they saw that a meeting was just about to conclude. Kazekage-sama, counselors. I am sorry for the interruption, however 3 representatives from Yugir have just arrived. The man said as the 3 walked in. Good afternoon. You may call me Kitsune, and my comrades are Oashi and Saro. Kitsune said as his companions nodded. Good afternoon to you as well. What brings you 3 here today? Gaara asked as he set the Kazekage hat down. We have come to discuss the finishing touches on our alliance with you. Kitsune replied. Of course. A counselor nodded. There are some details that we need to clear up, of course, however overall we see nothing wrong with this contract. That is fortunate. What matters do we need to clear up? Kitsune asked. The matters of trade. According to what you have explained to us, we are not allowed to trade with certain countries, such as Hai no Kuni. This complicates matters since they are a large nation and many different goods move through them. The man began. That is only a temporary problem. Kitsune nodded. As we speak, Hai no Kuni is finishing the production of a massive fleet of airships. With these we intend to use them to transport goods between our allies. This will solve that small difficulty that you are having, so until then please trade as much as you can by sea. Very well. Now the matter of allowing Yugir rights or command in wartime situations. Baki began as he read over the papers. I question why this is necessary. Simple. In war with multiple allies things can get confusing with one nation trying to stand higher than another. This is to make sure that all the groups stand equal, with Yugir, who is made up of many different nation shinobi, will lead the battles with no sense of favoritism. This is to ensure the loss of life is decreased, and we have seen that this does work well with the rebellions in Kaminari no Kuni. And one last thing. You say that we are to allow you to set up secret bases in our land. I for one do not approve of this. Another counselor remarked. This is to allow us to have many safe houses for our operatives. We need to make sure that they have places to stay away from the public eye and that we can respond to many different problems in many different areas. In all honesty, whenever I lead a mission I warp straight to the closest base, or will warp my operatives there. This saves on travel time and ensures that objectives can be made quickly. Kitsune replied, we do not ask for anything that is unreasonable. No, you do not. And now that we have explanations, I see no reason not to agree with this. Gaara nodded. I say that we agree to this alliance. Murmurs spread throughout the counselors as they one by one rose and agreed that this was a wise course of action. Once finished, they ended their meeting for the day as Gaara looked at Kitsune. You did good work here today. Gaara nodded. Thanks, Tanuki. Kitsune grinned as he turned on his heel. I expect that paperwork ready in 3 days. It will be. You will be staying here? Why not? Even I get tired of the mountains of Kaminari no Kuni. Kitsune chuckled as the three Yugir walked off to find a hotel to stay at. In Konohagakure, Tsunade was going over several files when she noticed one that was a letter from Gaara about coming to Sunagakure to discuss some matters that were of mutual interest. Sighing, Tsunade checked over the date and sent a messenger bird back saying that she would arrive in 3 days. Shizen! Tsunade shouted as she stood up, grabbing the kage robes and hat. Yes? She exclaimed as she ran in. Are you going somewhere? Yes. The Godame Kazekage has asked for me to travel to Sunagakure to discuss something that is of mutual interest to us. I intend to do this, so gather a squad of shinobi and have them meet me at the village gates in a few minutes. Tsunade said. Of course, Tsunade-sama. Shizen nodded as she ran off to gather the appropriate shinobi as Hinata emerged from the shadows in full A&B gear with a fox mask on. Shall I accompany you as well? Hinata asked. Yes. You can travel out of the mask. Tsunade nodded as Hinata removed the mask and followed Tsunade. So why do you think Gaara wants to see you? Hinata asked. It might be about Naruto. He knows that at least I still care about him along with several others, so he might want to discuss something with us. Tsunade replied as she walked. Nodding, Hinata checked her supplies and noted that Shizen had already gathered the squad, with Kakashi, Shikamaru and much to her disdain, Sasuke standing there. We are ready whenever you are. Kakashi nodded to Tsunade. Good. The mission is to escort me to Kazi no Kuni and into Sunagakure, where I will be having a meeting with the Godame Kazekage. Tsunade explained as the 4 shinobi nodded to her and prepared to set out. Outside of Sunagakure, a few days later, Deidara and Sasori approached. Sasori for his part was unable to construct a new giant puppet to hide inside of, so he was wrapped in his old Akatsuki cloak as the two of them walked, having the usual argument. Once they arrived, they stopped and Sasori let Deidara go about the capturing of the Ichibi. Dawn arrived and Sunagakure was in an uproar. Gaara had been captured and the Akatsuki were to blame. Kitsune and his squad quickly checked on Kankuro, who had been badly poisoned by fighting Sasori, and his Sandame Kazekage puppet. Alright. Seems like we have work to do. Oh, USHI-SARU! Kitsune shouted as he turned to his comrades. Let's move out. We have a lot of ground to cover and not a lot of time. I really wish we hadn't gone back to Kumo, but what's done is done. Yes, sir. The two nodded as they took off at a run with Chio, who, having done all that she could for Kankuro, decided that she would come and help them stop Sasori. You do not have to accompany us, Sara stated. I know. But I cannot do anything more for Kankuro, it will come down to his own strength. She replied, but I can do something about my grandson. Then you are welcome to come along. Kitsune replied, just keep up. They already have hours on us. Nodding, the 4 took off at a run, but were delayed at the arrival of the Konohagakure team. Just at the gates, Tsunade stopped, and so did Kitsune and his group, with the two staring at each other. Hokage-sama. Kitsune nodded. Do I know you? Tsunade asked as Chio glared at her and was about to attack Kakashi when Kitsune whispered something to her that calmed her down. Who is to say? Kitsune replied, as much as I would love to banter with you, we have a Kage rescue. Gaara has been kidnapped? Tsunade exclaimed. Yes, the Akatsuki got him last night. We happened to have left to go check in back home, so we missed the battle. We intend to go after him. Kitsune replied. Then we will come with you. Tsunade replied. No. Hokage-sama, you are better suited here. Kankuro has been poisoned and needs the assistance of the greatest medical nin ever known. We will take 3 of you with us, no more. Kitsune replied. Who are you to order us around? Sasuke snapped as he suddenly had a blade at his throat. I am the leader of Yugir. Kitsune replied, and if I so choose I could have your head if it did not belong to another. What do you mean by that? Tsunade asked and refrained from threatening each other. I mean that I promise to let another take his life if they get the chance. I will not rob a comrade of what they are owed. Kitsune replied, choose your 3. We are running out of time. Sasuke, Hinata, Kakashi. You 3 go with them. Shikamaru and I will stay here and do what we can for the wounded. Tsunade ordered Hinata, you are in charge. Understood. Hinata nodded. With that, Kitsune took off at a run, thanking Kami that he had disguised himself enough where Hinata wasn't able to recognize him. As they ran, they noted that they were heading into Kawa no Kuni. How are you tracking him? Kakashi asked as they ran. The seal that I gave him. Kitsune replied. Gaara has been a member of Yugir for some time, but he was never officially among us until Sunagakure was. When he joined, I gave him a seal that I could use to track him down. I can't really explain how it works, but I just know where he is, kind of like how you just know where your arm is. You can't really explain it, but you know. Kakashi nodded at this, seeing how that made sense. It was late in the afternoon when they arrived at a massive boulder. With a nod, Kitsune drew Ryujingafu and slashed at the stone, making a deep gash that was quickly repaired. Thought so. We need something to destroy the entire stone. Kitsune said as he looked at everyone present. Does anyone have something that would fit the bill? I do. Hinata replied as she walked up to the stone, placing a hand on it while using her Byakugan combined with the ability to use chakra to increase strength. Using a modified Jukin, Hinata shattered the stone, leaving a path open into the cave. Show time. Kitsune chuckled as he patted Hinata's shoulder. You do good work. Thank you. She nodded as she followed him inside to see that there was a massive statue with Sasori and Deidara on 2 fingers of it while shadow forms were on the other. Growling, Kitsune struck, slashing off the flow that was trying to absorb Gaara's demon, ending the ritual. What just happened? One of the shadowy figures asked as he looked at the group. You were followed, Sasori, Deidara. It appears so. And by Yugir too. Sasori noted. Come to save the Jinchuriki? Of course. Kitsune replied as he handed an unconscious Gaara over to Hinata. Take care of him. If you can use the massive strength, then you should be able to use medical ninjutsu as well. Of course. Hinata nodded as the statue started sinking into the ground and Sasori and Deidara prepared to fight. Saru, oh Ushi. I want you to deal with the bomber. Kitsune said as the 2 nodded. I can't order you around, Konoha nin, but Sasuke and Kakashi, I would recommend that you go after him as well. Why? Sasuke asked. Right-on. That is the weakness of IWA. He replied, and I know for a fact that you have right-on techniques, since I have seen the scar that you left young Uzumaki-san. All of the Konoha nin stiffened at this. It was a detail that they liked to forget, or in Sasuke's case liked to pretend never happened, but with Kitsune stating it so bluntly they all knew that he knew more than he had let on. So what about you? Hinata asked. I will deal with Sasori, with the help of Chio of course. I would like you to remain with Gaara and take care of him. I don't know how that procedure works, but I do know that we interrupted it before it could do too much damage. Kitsune replied as they nodded. With that, Deidara took off on a clay bird, heading outside where he would be able to fight to the best of his ability, while the 4 nin chased after him. Inside, Sasori had already taken out the Sandaime Kazekage and was facing Kitsune, who had drawn his 2 swords. Well, Sasori, let's test the durability of your art. He laughed as the former Kazekage attacked, sending a wave of metal sand at the blonde, who dodged the attack with a grin, swinging Ryujingafu and separating the wave of iron and making a small cut on the puppet. Interesting. Itachi and Kisame were not exaggerating your abilities with that sword of yours. Sasori noted. Of course not. Kitsune grinned. I wouldn't insult your art by holding back. Then allow me to bury you in its beauty. Sasori laughed as they clashed. Kitsune flowed from one form to the next, slipping around the puppet and stopping the attacks from reaching him. Sasori was smiling at the battle, seeing that Kitsune had the real advantage in this battle. Laughing, he activated one of the traps, letting the arms open up, revealing the seals that held the hundreds of arms that would swarm Kitsune, burying him and injecting the poison that he was currently using. With a grin, Kitsune struck, unleashing a series of simultaneous blows that destroyed the arms before they could get too close to him, and allowed him to get closer to the puppet. Leaping up into the air, Kitsune swung Ryujingafu down, unleashing a slash of wind that smashed into the Sandaime Kazekage, cleaving him in two, followed by Kitsune landing and using Gaara to slash through the two halves, leaving the shattered puppet laying in the dirt. Impressive. Sasori nodded as he looked at Kitsune. I never expected you to cut down this puppet like it was nothing. Why should I hesitate destroying something that should have died a long time ago? Kitsune grinned. I see. Well, that is not something that I can say most people would do. Many would hesitate if they faced the late Kazekage, Sasori remarked. Maybe, but I am not one of them. So tell me, Sasori, why do you stay with the Akatsuki? Is it because you seek to perfect your art? And if I do? Sasori asked. You are wasting your talents then. How can you perfect your art when you can only show it on a few occasions? How can you grow as an artist if you cannot make your art into true beauty? Kitsune asked as Sasori stared. Sasori Chiyo said, looking at her grandson. Why did you join the Akatsuki? I joined because I wanted to perfect my art, Sasori replied. Then join me. Kitsune replied. Join Yugir and allow your art to expand to a level beyond what you are currently at. What do you mean? I mean, you could create puppets that will last throughout the ages, puppets that can be used for more than just fighting, puppets that will ensure your title as the greatest puppet master for all eternity. Kitsune said as he looked at the young boy. And I can even promise you that you will be able to regain what you lost. What I lost? Sasori asked. I do not know what you are talking about. Your human body. I can promise you that you will regain that body, and the ability to truly create puppets that will astonish and impress the world, Kitsune replied. Hinata watched the scene with mild confusion. Why was the leader of Yugir offering a member of Akatsuki to join him? Why are you offering me this? Sasori asked, shaking his head. Why would you offer your enemies to join you? Because I believe that everyone should have the chance to see where their dreams can take them. Tell me, Sasori, what are your dreams? Sasori stared for a few moments before he decided to answer. I dreamed of being the greatest puppet master of all time. I wanted to make puppets that would last forever. And you still can. Join Yugir and I promise you that you will be given every chance to accomplish this dream and be remembered for greatness instead of feared, Kitsune said as he held out his hand to him. Sasori stared at Kitsune before nodding his head, seemingly to have a decision. Let's see if you are right. If you can best me one final time, against myself and my puppets that destroyed an entire nation, then I will leave the Akatsuki and take you up on your offer. Fail and I will end your life and will continue with what I have been doing. Sasori replied. I hope that you can meet my expectations. One way to find out, Kitsune replied as Chiyo and Hinata stepped forward. He won't be fighting alone, Chiyo replied as she took out a scroll and unleashed 10 puppets, the 10 that had belonged to the first puppet master. Hinata simply glared as she prepared to fight. With a grin, Sasori summoned his 100 puppets, sending them out to destroy the 13 standing before him. With a nod, Kitsune charged forward, swinging his blades and cutting down the puppets as Hinata followed suit, using her Juken and massive strength to destroy the puppets, while Chiyo was using her 10 puppets to perform combination attacks that took down dozens of the puppets at a time. For several moments the battle raged until Kitsune was surrounded by several puppets, and was about to be attacked when a wave of sand took them all down. Turning, Gaara had stood up, looking tired but ready to fight. You never did watch your back. Gaara grinned. Coming from the man I had to come rescue, Kitsune remarked as he cut down another puppet. Charging forward, Kitsune slashed through the few remaining puppets that surrounded Sasori before he clashed with the legendary puppet master, parrying poison blades and other dangerous weapons. Soon Kitsune had managed to slash off an arm of the puppet and was now severing the legs, trying to leave the puppet trapped and useless on the ground. Sasori, however, would have nothing to do with that as he raised one of his arms and slashed at Kitsune, leaving a faint slash across his chest, forcing him to leap back and throw his swords into the offending arm. Stopping, he started performing hand signs. Futon, Kyofa Setsudan, severing gale. Kitsune replied as blades of wind slashed through the immobilized puppet, leaving the body laying on the ground with on the head, and enough of the chest where the only real portion of Sasori hadn't been ejected. Looks like I have lost. Sasori sighed. Maybe, but you earned something even more, Kitsune replied as he looked down on the defeated man. It is a pleasure to have you among our ranks. Sasori, Chiyo murmured as she knelt by her grandson. Come on, you two, let's give them some peace, Kitsune said as he walked out of the ruined cavern. As they left, Hinata stopped Kitsune, saying how she needed to heal him before the poison started to take its toll on his body. Grinning under his mask, he let Hinata perform the jutsu on the wound, removing all traces of the poison before they infected his body any more than they already had. There. That should do it. Just take it easy for a few days so your body can recover, Hinata ordered. Of course. Kitsune chuckled. Now let's go get those four before they blow up the entire area. Outside, while Kitsune and Sasori had battled, Deidara had been battling the four nin with no success at all. Oashi and Kakashi had proven that their right-hand techniques were too great for the bomber, and he was now on the retreat, trying to avoid the long-range attacks from the four nin as he circled the air, stopping only long enough to see that Sasori had been defeated before he fled, flying away quickly before the four could injure him. Coward! Sasuke spat as Sara looked at him. It would be foolish to chase after him, even with a right-hand affinity. If he is pushed too far, he will do the unexpected, and that could cause the loss of many other lives, Sara replied as he started walking back. So? Sasuke asked as the two Yugir nin stopped and looked at him before shaking their heads. Kid was right, this boy's a blight. Oashi sighed as they walked. True. You are one who would stab a man in the back if it gained you an inch. You are not one to be trusted and in fact should be put down. I see now why Kitsune has agreed to let you be killed. Sara nodded as he walked while Sasuke stared angrily at their backs. Sasuke, don't do anything stupid. Kakashi ordered if you attack them they won't hesitate to kill you, even if it is to rob one of their comrades. Like they could kill me. Sasuke huffed as they walked. Once the two groups had met up, they made their way back to Sunagakure, with Sasori abandoning the puppet body and having the small cylinder that was his only living part being carried by Chio until a new body could be created from his DNA. Upon their arrival, they were welcomed like heroes returning, with cheers ringing and many people rushing up to see Gaara, overjoyed that he was alive. Seems you are really popular, Kitsune noted as they walked. It would seem so. Gaara nodded. I am not sure how to react. Be happy, was the reply, and find a nice girl among all of these people. I'm willing to bet you that there is at least one that meets your tastes. Gaara only blushed at this as they walked while he looked at a young Chunin who was smiling at him, batting her eyes once she realized that Gaara was looking at her. Once back at the Kazekage Tower, they meet up with Tsunade, Shikamaru, Temari, and a fully recovered Kankuro. It's good to see that you are safe, Gaara. Tsunade smiled as she shook Gaara's hand. Thank you, Tsunade. I see that you sent most of your escort with to help rescue me. Gaara nodded. For that I am thankful. We all would have gone, but Kitsune said he would only take 3 of us. Tsunade replied. It was for the best that we stayed. After all, too many of us, and things might not have turned out so well. Shikamaru replied with a smirk as he stared at Kitsune, as though trying to solve a puzzle. Yes, now I believe that you wanted to discuss something with me, Gaara. Tsunade said as she nodded to Kakashi for them all to leave the room, which everyone except Kitsune and Hinata complied with. You are going to stay? Hinata asked. Yeah, since I might have some explaining to do in a few minutes. Kitsune replied as he took a seat, pulling out a chair for Hinata. Nodding to him, she sat down while Gaara and Tsunade also took their seats. So what did you want to talk about, Gaara? Tsunade asked. It concerns Naruto. I have had contact with him recently. Really? How is he? He is well, and he sends his regards to you. However, there is more to it than pleasantries. I am sure that you do not know this, but Naruto is a member of Yugir. Really? Tsunade asked with a frown. I never expected him to go to them. He is one of the founding members. Kitsune replied from his seat. Is that so? Tsunade muttered. Would you like to explain? Gaara asked. Fine. It will be faster this way. He nodded as he looked at Tsunade. While Yugir has nothing personally against you, Hinata and many others in your village, as a whole it has been the wish of one of our members that it is destroyed, and we will abide by it. What? Tsunade shouted. I am sorry that we must discuss it like this. However, your village has made far too many enemies and is now paying the price. Your banishing Naruto was the worst move that could have been made. You cost yourself almost every single ally that you had gained in the last 6 years. You no longer have the might that you once possessed. Kitsune replied. Why? Tsunade growled. Because we promised to aid one of our members in accomplishing this goal. It is the one thing that we guarantee when a member joins, that their dream will be accomplished. And while it is the dream of the entire group to have world peace, there are individual dreams that will be met along the way. Now I will not be going into all of the details, however I will say this. No nation will trade with you that is allied with us, so you will no longer be receiving trade from Kaminari no Kuni, Haru no Kuni, Kazi no Kuni, Taki no Kuni, and Nami no Kuni. With more names to follow. This is ridiculous. Know this, however, we intend to at least spare as many as we can when we strike. We will be visiting Konohagakure to explain this to your entire council, but you have the right to know what is going to happen. Kitsune replied. As I said, we have nothing personal against you. We would actually offer membership to you and many others if we could. But for now it is not possible. I see. I thank you for telling me this. Tsunade nodded. What will happen to the civilians when this happens? That is not for me to reveal. Kitsune replied. The one who will reveal all will come before you in due time. I see. Is there any way to stop this? There is one way, but it will not be done thanks to your counsel. Kitsune chuckled. What way? Reverse the banishment on Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze and all is forgiven. Kitsune replied as he started laughing. Hinata stared at him, not knowing why he was laughing but hoping that Tsunade would reverse it. I can't. I wish I could every single day, but I cannot. Not without a mass majority of the Shinobi Council and the Civilian Council and at least 2 of the others. Tsunade sighed. And that is why there is no redemption for your village. Kitsune replied as he stood up. I am sorry that you cannot reverse it, but know that I will try to spare your life if I can. That won't be necessary. Konohagakure won't be crushed so easily. Tsunade replied. I know. That is why when the time comes there will be nothing left but dust on the wind, and may Kami have mercy on our souls when it is done. Kitsune replied as he walked out of the room. Hinata was stunned by this turn of events. It seemed that Kitsune held Naruto in high regard to make such a demand to avoid war, but he seemed more concerned with making sure that the destruction was complete and total. Tsunade, I am going to go talk to him, Hinata said as she stood up. Fine. Tsunade nodded as she turned to talk to Gaara some more. Running out of the room, Hinata saw Kitsune waiting for her at the end of the hall. About time. He chuckled. I have a message for you. From Naruto? Hinata asked. Of course. He wanted me to tell you to meet him on top of the tower tonight. He will arrive then. Kitsune replied as he started walking away. Wait. What? Kitsune asked as he looked at her. Could you at least tell me which one of your members wants to destroy Konohagakure? I can't. As I said, the one who wishes it will be revealed in due time. He will come to speak to Konohagakure's council. Kitsune replied. Remember, tonight. With that the leader walked off, leaving Hinata very confused. That night Hinata was atop of the tower when a flash of orange appeared and Naruto was standing right next to her. Smiling, he kissed her and sat down on the edge of the tower with her. So I heard you fought alongside the boss. Naruto began. Yeah. He used 2 swords like you do, Hinata replied. We fight almost identical to each other. We were trained by the same people. Naruto grinned. Naruto-kun. I know about someone in Yugir wanting to destroy Konohagakure. Hinata began. Yeah, Naruto trailed off. Do you know who it is? Hinata asked. What difference would it make if I told you? It will still happen even if that person suddenly dies. We promised them that it would, and we will not go back on our word. Naruto replied, a cold edge coming into his voice that slightly scared Hinata. Naruto noticed this and wrapped an arm around her and smiled. Listen, Hinata-chan, even if the attack does happen, I will promise that you will be kept safe. Naruto grinned. What makes you say that? Because I can offer you a way out of Konoha. Kitsune has decided that you can become a member of Yugir. We are always looking for powerful shinobi, and we never turn anyone away. But I have my duties back in Konoha, I can't just abandon them. I know. But the offer still stands, and you can accept it at any time. Naruto smiled as he took out a tri-pronged kunai. Here, all you have to do is roll this in your hand 3 times, and it will let me know that you need to see me. Only use this in emergencies, and even then not too often. It takes a lot of chakra to use this technique. I understand. Hinata nodded as he tightened his hug on her, starting to kiss her neck. Naruto-kun, if you are going to start getting like that, we will have to find somewhere more private. Is that an invitation? Naruto asked as he kissed her. Maybe. Hinata smiled as she started moving away, playing hard to get. I will take that as a yes. Naruto laughed as he moved after her, earning a giggle from Hinata, who started to play the game of cat and mouse. The next day Naruto woke up with Hinata in the hotel room that Naruto had gotten earlier that night, the pair a tangle of limbs. Rising, Naruto kissed Hinata as he changed back into his Yugir clothes. Going? Hinata asked from the bed. Yeah. I do have work to do. But I will see you again as soon as I can. Naruto promised as he kissed her goodbye before leaving in an orange flash, reappearing in the Yugir hotel room where Rashi was finishing his morning coffee while B was eating breakfast. Hungry? Rashi asked. I know that after sex people can be very hungry. What? Naruto exclaimed, turning a Hinata shade of red as B laughed. You mean you didn't? Rashi asked, shocked. I figured that the two of you would have gone at it by now. No. Naruto exclaimed, we are waiting until we can see each other more often first. Oh, well then you might be waiting for some time. Rashi laughed. He's right. B chuckled as he returned to his breakfast while Naruto grumbled about the pair of them being more trouble than they were worth. Once they were all ready, they walked to the Kazekage tower where Gaara was waiting for them, with the contract already complete. As promised, here it is. Gaara nodded. Thanks. So how did things go with Tsunade? Kitsune asked as he started skimming over the papers, making sure that there were no hidden surprises. As well as expected. She is upset but understands our reasoning. She expects us to at least accept refugees from when you attack. That's fine by my, but there won't be any until Konoha is gone. Kitsune replied as he signed the papers, and now it is official. Keep that seal with you. Of course. The Jinchuriki nodded as the three left the room, walking out of the tower to see Kakashi waiting for them. Yes? Kitsune asked, looking at him. I just wanted to ask you something. We're listening. Is Naruto doing well? Smiling under his mask, Kitsune nodded. He is fine. He has grown much stronger than you would care to believe, and when you do see him again, your village will realize their folly at banishing him. I see. Tell him that I hope he is well, and that all of his friends miss him, Kakashi said as he walked away. That I will. And if you ever need help, Kakashi knows Sharingan, come to Yugir, you will not be turned away. Kitsune promised as he nodded to Saru and Oashi. With that, they warped back to Kaminari no Kuni, with another victory for the master plan. Naruto stood amongst his counselors, looking at a map while discussing plans. What is the status of the hunt for the Sanbai? Naruto asked, looking at Gaara. Going well. We have almost located it, but there is a problem. There always is. Naruto chuckled. He doesn't have a container. Gaara said as they all looked at each other with worry. Without someone sealing it into someone else, it will do us no good to capture it. Well, that is a problem. Naruto mused. Is there anyone that could become the Jinchuriki? We have a few candidates, but I would not use it personally. We don't have the time to be picky, unfortunately. Naruto sighed. Who stands the best chance of surviving and being able to use the beast's power? From our information, it would be Yuki, Gaara said as everyone looked at Naruto. Naruto himself was fighting internally over this choice, especially since he was so close to her. Flashback. It had been over 2 years since Naruto had been banished, and his teacher had thought it would be a good idea for him to wander the lands, learning what he could on his own and honing his already impressive abilities. Naruto was walking on the Great Naruto Bridge, walking to Nami no Kuni, hoping to visit Tazuna and his family for a day or two before he started wandering again. As he stepped off of the massive stone construct, Naruto sensed chakra flaring and started moving towards it. Stopping, Naruto found a young girl, no older than 5, sitting in an alley, with 3 drunks standing over her. Now you're going to get what you deserve, you freak. One laughed as he swung a knife at her but wasn't even close. The little girl for her part tried to keep a brave face, but the massive swirling blue chakra proved that she was either very angry or very frightened for her life. I would stop if I were you, Naruto said from behind them. Turning, they looked at the blonde, however being too drunk to think sensibly, one threw a bottle at him, that he caught and shattered in his own hands. Suddenly he was standing in front of the girl, Gaara drawn and the 3 men dead, falling down, cut down at the waist. Are you okay? Naruto asked as he looked at her. She looked up at him with muddy brown eyes that showed all of the hurt that she had. She wore rags that barely covered her emancipated frame, and her black hair was knotted, and she smelled like she hadn't bathed in a very long time. Are you going to hurt me? She asked as he sheathed his sword. No. Why don't you come with me? I can get you a meal, some decent clothes and a bath. Definitely the bath and meal though. Naruto chuckled as he picked her up, piggyback style, and carried her to Tazuna's house. Once there, Naruto was welcomed, and Tsunami had taken the young girl to get a bath before anything else. Tazuna-san, do you know anything about that girl? Naruto asked as he sat at the table with the older man. No, he sighed, shaking his head. She came in with a group of 3 men, looking exactly like that. We planned on confronting them this evening about her, but it seems you beat us to that. I don't know who they were, but they are dead now, after threatening her. Naruto replied, a cold look in his eyes. Yeah. So what are you going to do? We know that you can't take her to Konohagakure no Sato, and that you are a wanderer. She can stay here if that is what you are trying to tell me to do. But I feel that is a waste of talent. She has a lot of chakra, easily as much as I did the first time I came here. With the right training she could become a great shinobi. Naruto remarked. So you will take her with you? I don't know. If she wants to come with me, then I won't stop her. I'm not much of a teacher, but I will do what I can for her, at least until I meet with my sensei again. Naruto nodded. Turning at the sound of footsteps, Naruto saw the little girl coming walking into the kitchen, still damp from her bath, her eyes wary but taking everything in. Hi there. Tazuna smiled as she cringed. It's okay. Tazuna-san wouldn't hurt you, Naruto said as he knelt next to her, instantly getting hugged by the young girl who refused to let go. Sighing in mock defeat, Naruto picked her up and returned to his seat at the table as Tsunami walked in and smiled at the sight. You look like a father, Naruto-kun. Tsunami giggled as Tazuna sighed. I guess I do. And this answers our question. She will be coming with me. Naruto grinned as the girl nodded her head, while tightening her grip. But I need a name for you. Yuki, she said. Yuki, that's a pretty name. Naruto grinned as he hugged. Alright, your name is Yuki Uzumaki Namikaze. Yuki pulled away enough to smile at him before turning so she was sitting in his lap as Tsunami brought some food for her. Yuki ate with such vigor that Naruto had to slow her down enough so that she would be able to breathe. After eating herself to sleep, Naruto took her up to a bed for her to sleep in, while asking Inari to keep an eye on her while he went to go pay his respects. Walking into the forest glade, Naruto stopped in front of Zabuza's and Haku's graves, a small smile on his face. I almost wish you were alive. You always seemed so certain in your decisions, both of you. I wish I had that now, even half of it would help. I don't know what to do. How am I supposed to create an organization that will bring about world peace? Naruto asked, looking at the graves. I'm sure that you would have some ideas. Maybe even some way to help me get people to join me. Stopping, he turned to see Yuki standing behind a tree looking at him. It's okay. I just came to pay my respects to some people I knew. Yuki then walked over, looking at the two graves before looking up at him. Who? Their names were Zabuza and Haku Momochi. They were family to each other, an honorable nin. They died in combat, and died defending what they believed in. Naruto said, if I can be even half as great as they were, I would be well off. Oh, Yuki smiled as she looked up at him again. You know, Yuki, back at the alley when I saved you. Do you know what that blue stuff was that was around you? No, the men were frightened by it, and always hurt me when I did it. Well, that is going to change. That is called chakra, and it is what shinobi used to fight and be what they are. You have a lot of it, and I want to teach you to be a shinobi like me. Naruto smiled. Really? Yuki asked, can we play as well? We will play every day if you want. Naruto promised as he gave her a hug. So would you like me to teach you what I can, at least until we can meet with my sensei again? Yeah. As long as we get to play. Yuki smiled as she returned the hug, with Naruto picking her up. Great. Now it is time for a certain young shinobi to get to bed. Naruto laughed as he carried her back to the house. For the following years, Yuki had always been his companion and had helped him keep his determination to create Yugir. Now she was the best candidate to become a Jinchuriki. Shaking his head, he looked at the gathered members. Try to find another. Was all he said. I don't want to thrust that fate onto Yuki. Nodding, the members walked out of the room with Naruto sitting down on a chair in the room trying to think on what to do next. The countries were becoming split. Now that 2 of the 5 great nations followed him, Iwa was dead set against joining with them. Tetsu no Kuni had agreed to a non-aggression treaty between them, along with the detail that they would not trade with Hai no Kuni anymore. Kawa no Kuni had agreed to fight alongside Konohagakure against Yugir, banning them from their borders and giving another safe haven for Akatsuki. Cha no Kuni was still trying to argue with them, and so Naruto knew that he was going to have to go there and either convince them to agree with them, or he would have to write them off as another enemy and deal with them. Ami no Kuni had at least finally agreed to join them, and their diplomat Isarabi had returned, to continue her shinobi training and to help them work on their underwater training, in case things turned ugly with Mizu no Kuni. Mizu no Kuni was still undecided, seeing as how they were still in the recovery stage with the Kekkai Genkai purge. Aim no Kuni was refusing to let his diplomats in, so that was looking like peace wasn't going to be the answer, at least not yet. Lastly, Yu no Kuni was trying to work out a different deal with his diplomats, and Naruto was going to have to go and deal with that himself. Sighing, Naruto checked the pile of papers and noted that he was supposed to go and see the council of Konohagakure today. Sighing, Naruto grabbed his mask before warping to the road a few miles outside of Konohagakure. Walking slowly, Kitsune prepared himself for the Pandora's box he was about to open. Once at the gates, Naruto was stopped by two chunin who glared at him. "Passport, please," a man ordered as Kitsune shook his head. "My name is Kitsune. The council of Konohagakure no Sato is expecting me," Kitsune replied as the two looked at each other before checking their sheet and seeing that he was expected. "Sorry for the delay. Just go straight to the tower." One of them nodded to Kitsune, who nodded back and walked along the path, knowing that he was being followed by both ANBU and root agents. Heading straight for the tower, he stopped and looked up at the massive building before shaking his head. Walking in, he was given directions to the meeting room, where he walked in to find that the counselors were already waiting. "Right on time." Tsunade nodded as she motioned to the seat at the end of the table. "Now, Kitsune-san, if you would please explain to us why you are here." "Of course, Hokage-sama. I am here to declare war upon Konohagakure no Sato and all of its allies," Kitsune replied as the counselors stared dumbly for several seconds before they reacted. "What is the meaning of this?" Hamura raged as many other counselors did the same, with the Isako Haruno shouting the loudest. Kitsune waited for several minutes before he finally spoke, speaking loud enough for them to hear and then lowering his voice slowly so that they were quiet and he was speaking normally. "Due to many of your actions, we, the members of Yugir, have agreed that Konohagakure no Sato must be eliminated, so as to ensure world peace and to meet the one dream of one of our members. However, I am told by this person that there will be one way for you to reverse this situation," Kitsune replied as Danzo noted that something wasn't right. "And what is this? Surely we can reach some sort of agreement." Komura grinned. "If, and only if, you reverse the banishment on one Naruto Uzumaki, will we of Yugir agree not to eliminate you and all that live here," Kitsune replied as many jaws dropped at this request while Tsunade sighed. "That is preposterous." A civilian shouted. "Why should we take back that demon so that you won't fight us?" Kitsune looked at the man and released enough Ki to force the man to pass out. Once done, he looked around the room, seeing many people smile, while others looked angry. "This is unheard of. Why would you make such a demand?" Hayashi Hyuga asked. "Because the boy was banished for unjust reasons, reasons that you back, Hyuga-san. Therefore this is the only way for you to avoid being destroyed. Reverse the order and all will be forgiven, and we will talk of alliance. Refuse and you will see our blades become red on the flesh of you ignorant fools." Kitsune said, "If there is nothing else, I will be going now. I will send a messenger tomorrow to collect your answer. And if anything should happen to this messenger, we will attack Konoha so quickly that you will not have the time to pray to Kami for forgiveness." Walking out of the room, the counselors looked at each other worried. "What are we going to do?" Hamura panicked. "We cannot reverse this order." "And why not? Taking back one banished shinobi in order to avert a war is not much to ask," Tsunade argued as Danzo nodded. "As much as I hate to say this, Hokage-sama has a point. We need to take actions that will aid Konoha, not weaken it. I admit that while banishing the boy was a right choice at the time, now it is not. We need to consider taking him back." Danzo replied, "I for one will not see Konohagakure lost to the ages simply because we were too stubborn to back down. We will not allow him back. Konohagakure is one of the greatest of the shinobi nations. We can easily deal with a mercenary group that has some small ties to Kaminari no Kuni and other countries," Komura replied. "We need to consider bringing him back." Shikaku replied with a yawn. "That kid had more connections to the outside world than any other person here. He managed to make us lose ties with 4 different nations, just for banishing him on such weak charges. Imagine what he could do if he managed to bring in all of the powers of the nations that support Yugir. Konohagakure would be buried alive against that massive army." The council room then fell into a massive argument that lasted for several hours before the meeting was adjourned, with them agreeing to meet early tomorrow so that they could make some final decision on the matter before the representative arrived. Leaving the room, Hinata appeared, scanning the area to make sure that there was nothing left that could cause any difficulties later. Stopping, she saw a note sitting on the chair that Kitsune had been sitting in. Picking it up, she saw that it was addressed to her, and slowly she opened it to see a simple message waiting for her. All it said was, "Tomorrow he shall return." Frowning, Hinata tried to decide what it could mean. There were plenty of people that it could refer to, but she hoped that it was Naruto. The next day the council was meeting again, still arguing over the matter, when Tsunade saw that the representative would be arriving shortly. Before she could say a word, a bright flash of orange appeared and Naruto stood in the council room, a dark grin on his face. "Well, I am here to collect your answer," Naruto replied as the counselors stared. "It's Naruto! Capture him!" Hamura and Komura shouted as several ANBU agents appeared, but they stopped when red chakra started to swirl around him. I wouldn't if I were you. Naruto said, I am a diplomat from Yugir, and if you attack me then you will all be killed and no nation will support you for attacking one who is promised not to attack unless attacked first. Stand down, Tsunade ordered. At first no one moved until an Anbu in a fox mask appeared, a blade out and aimed at one of their throats. You will follow Hokage-sama's orders or you will be dealt with accordingly, she said as Naruto grinned. With that several more Anbu appeared, forcing those that answered to the council to stand down and return to their posts. Now that this bit of unpleasantness is settled, what is your answer? Naruto asked as he looked at them, many meeting his gaze, some defiant, while others smiled at the gaze, others looked away, not wanting to face the cold look that the blonde was giving to many of them. It was a few moments before Tsunade spoke. Naruto. We haven't reached a decision yet. Is that so? Still arguing about whether you want me back? He chuckled as he looked at Tsunade, sending a shiver down her spine with the dark look he fixed her with. Yes. If you would like to go out and eat while we finish our discussion, Tsunade suggested. Fine. But only if the fox-masked Anbu comes with me. Naruto replied as Tsunade nodded as the Anbu appeared, walking to stand next to Naruto. Walking out of the room, Naruto whispered, You look good, my vixen. Hinata for her part blushed underneath the mask as they walked, heading to the one place that he always loved to eat at while he had been in Konoha, Ichiraku ramen. Walking up to the bar, Naruto took a seat while Hinata removed her mask. Once they were settled, Naruto tapped the bell that was to get their attention. Be right there, a woman's voice shouted. Grinning, Naruto started rubbing his hands in anticipation, while Hinata shook her head at his childlike antics. Welcome to Naruto! I am, shouted as she leapt over the counter, hugging him tightly as Tsuchi ran out grinning. Ouch, Naruto gurgled as he was crushed in the arms of the older woman, while Hinata smiled at the welcome. I am Chan. You might want to let him go, otherwise I'm going to have to revive him. Hinata sighed as I am blushed before letting the blonde go. Once on the other side of the counter, and Naruto had retaken his seat, Tsuchi asked them what they wanted. The usual for me and keep it coming. Naruto grinned. A miso ramen for me, please. Hinata smiled as the ramen chef and his daughter went back to start the meal. So Hinata, how much of a commotion did Kitsune cause when he declared war? Naruto asked. The council has been arguing about letting you come home since the announcement. It is evenly split at the moment. I see. If they do take me back, then things are going to turn out better, but some of them are still not going to like what an alliance with us is going to cost them. Naruto chuckled. What do you mean? The civilian council will be disbanded, and the elders will lose almost all of their power. Really? Yeah. This is a shinobi village, so it should act as such. Naruto nodded as Tsuchi and Ayam walked back with the ramen, which Naruto stated eating with gusto. Be careful not to lose a hand. Tsuchi laughed as the ramen was gone in a matter of seconds. So Naruto, how have you been? Ayam asked. I've been well. I work with Yugir now, so things are different but better. Naruto replied, so how have things been here? Not too well. You were our main source of income, so we are barely making the rent as things stand. Tsuchi sighed, we might have to close down soon. Or you can just move to where I live. Naruto replied with a grin. Where is that? Ayam asked. Kumogakure. He replied, it's Yugir's main headquarters right now. And you would be doing massive business there. The pair looked at each other, both trying to decide what to do, while Naruto and Hinata continued to eat until a pile of 20 bowls was sitting in front of Naruto, and Hinata had her one. Thanks for the meal. Naruto grinned as he left a pile of Ryo on the bar to pay for the massive meal. Of course, Naruto. Hope you stop by again before you leave. Tsuchi shouted. I'll try. Naruto grinned as he and Hinata walked off, heading back to the Hokage Tower. Once inside, Naruto quickly noticed that there was a lack of noise coming from the council chamber, and Hinata started to look nervous. Better get your mask back on, Hinata-chan, Naruto said as he opened the door, and Hinata disappeared into the shadows again. Once he had taken his seat, Tsunade looked at Naruto and mouthed an apology to him before she stood up. Naruto Uzumaki, I unfortunately must say that your banishment will not be removed. I thought so. He nodded. Then we are at war then, Hokage-sama. Know this, if any Yugir member comes across a Konohagakure no Sato shinobi, we will not hesitate to attack and kill them. As of now, there is no more negotiations. And what is to stop us from capturing you? Danzo asked as he raised a hand and 10 root nin appeared around the blonde, all ready to strike. Do you think that wise, attacking a foreign diplomat? Naruto asked. I seem to recall that I have an hour after I leave the meeting hall to be out of the village, and the next week to be out of the country before you can legally attack me. Tsunade smiled at this while Danzo was mentally cursing the blonde for knowing the law. Still, there must be something that we can offer you that would stop such an event from occurring. A civilian began. Save your breath. I told you the terms, and you choose not to follow them. There is no negotiations, there is no changing the bargains. You have no hope of stopping me from leaving. Naruto replied as he stood up. Now, by your leave, I will be going now. Until we meet on the battlefield again. Turning, Naruto walked out of the door, while Danzo gave a hidden sign for him to be followed and killed once the opportunity presented itself. Things could not have been much worse. Tsunade sighed as many of the shinobi council nodded. Things are still bad. Danzo remarked. We are now at war with an organization that we know next to nothing about. There must be something that we can use to stop this, or at least delay this until we are better prepared for battle. There is none. Inoichi replied. I was checking his mental patterns while we talked. He never lied to us, and I think that he is the one that wants Konohagakure destroyed. What? Tsunade exclaimed. It's not too much of a stretch. He was banished for doing his job, for doing what he was supposed to do, and he probably has plenty of resentment towards us. He has every right to want to destroy Konohagakure, and he now has the means of doing it. He has been effectively cutting off our allies one by one. At the moment, our only ally is Kawa no Kuni, and they aren't going to be much help. They have cut us off from so many of our former allies that things are starting to look grim. Shikaku replied as many of the shinobi counselors nodded. This isn't important right now. What we need to do is figure out how we are going to prepare for the battle that is sure to be coming. Danzo replied as they all nodded, beginning to discuss ideas and strategies. Outside of Konoha, Naruto stopped, looking over his shoulder at this place that had been his home, taking a mental picture of it before he walked further down, and his agents appeared. Report. Naruto ordered. We have gathered all of the intel that you requested. Our members that are undercover there will be sending regular reports to you about the changes that are being made. Good. Stay in the area, and try to spy on the council as much as you can without being caught. I want to know any possible plans that you can get, and kill those fools that are following me. Naruto grinned as walked, listening to kunai striking flesh, killing the root nin that were tailing him. Once he was certain that things were in hand, Naruto hurried back to Kumogakure, walking out of his room to see what news they had on other pressing matters. In Oto, Orochimaru was reading reports on how this new group Yugir was causing such chaos. Strange. They have yet to approach us yet, he noted as his right-hand Kabuto walked in. They may not intend to ally with us, or they may mean to leave us alone. Kabuto remarked. However, I do have some news on this group. Really? Yes. They apparently have declared war on Konohagakure no Sato. He grinned as Orochimaru followed suit. Perhaps we can ally with them yet. Do you know where they are located? They should be in Kumogakure, but getting in is a problem. Kabuto replied as you know they have increased security along the border of Kaminari no Kuni, and they are very cautious. I see. Well, send them a letter, tell them that we wish to ally with them. Orochimaru grinned, and who knows, they may have some interesting candidates for new bodies. Chuckling, the former Sannin began planning what he would do once Yugir accepted. In one of their many hideouts, Akatsuki was having a meeting concerning their recent disaster concerning the Ichibi. We have lost one of our members now, Pain noted as the other members looked around at each other. And he may be alive. Deidara noted. I didn't find the heart when I went back. He may have been captured. Unlikely, Pain replied. Itachi Kisame. You both have confronted Yugir before. Tell me, would they just take Sasori? I don't know, Itachi began. It is hard to say what they will and won't do. Yeah. They are rather difficult to predict. Kisame nodded. I see. Well, be cautious with future dealing with them. We cannot afford to lose too many more members, especially if we hope to combat the nations once we start capturing the Jinchuriki. There are only 2 left that can be captured, which is why I want you, Deidara, and your new partner Tobi to go after the Sanbai. Pain ordered as a new shadow appeared. Hello everyone. Tobi is a good boy. Tobi exclaimed as he waved at them, with most of the older members' sweat dropping at this. Why me? Deidara sighed. Also, I want you all to start focusing on Yugir, find out all that you can on their numbers, abilities, and locations. I intend to see these imposters destroyed. No one will come between us and world peace. Pain said as the meeting ended with him returning to his Deva body and aim. Conan. Yes? The blue-haired woman asked. You said that there were representatives from Yugir on our borders? I did. I haven't let them in, however. Good. We will see if we can capture them and find out what they know about this organization, he said as he turned and started walking into the tower, the other 5 bodies appearing. Of course. Konan nodded as she followed behind her old friend's body. Days had passed since the meeting in Konohagakure, and Naruto was once again in a meeting about the Sanbai. Naruto, there is no other way. Gaara sighed. Yuki is the best option. I don't care. She has a hard enough life as it is. I refuse to use her like this. Naruto shouted. Naruto, as a leader you need to do what is necessary for everyone. We cannot let the Akatsuki get a hold of the Sanbai, nor can we allow Konohagakure to go after it. You know that they will soon enough, and if they don't, Orochimaru will. Gaara growled. Damn it! Naruto shouted as he punched the wall, destroying it. I don't want her to walk down the path we had to. Naruto, there is no longer a choice. Gaara retorted. If we want to keep the Jinchuriki safe, we will need to create another one. Naruto stared at Gaara for a few moments before sighing in defeat. Fine. But first we go after the beast. Of course. You will lead this mission? Yeah. Tell Fu that she can come with me. Naruto replied as he looked at Gaara, and tell Han that he will be needed as well. Of course. Gaara nodded as he walked off. An hour later Naruto was looking at his 2 comrades and nodded. All right. We are going after the Sanbai. We need to capture it and bring it back here, so that is why I am bringing both of you with. Naruto replied as he warped them to the hideout in Mizuno-kuni. Grinning Fu led the way out of the base, and they began the search for the Biju. In Konoha, Danzo had managed to convince Tsunade that the best hope would be to get another Jinchuriki within the village, and since the Sanbai currently had no container, that it should be captured and brought there so they could seal it, and have another powerful shinobi among their ranks. Tsunade had decided to send shinobi that she could afford to be without for a time, meaning what remained of Team 7. As the 3 shinobi made their way towards the shore, Kakashi was briefing them of what to expect. The Sanbai can produce a mist that will cause hallucinations and has the ability to fire twin Baijidama, tailed beast ball. Along with this, it has a high water affinity, and can create tidal waves in all directions to wash away attackers, while its roar can deflect any attacks. Its skin and shell are incredibly tough and are near impossible to pierce. Kakashi read off as they moved. So don't underestimate him. Sakura summed up. That's about it. That, and we need to be very careful. I doubt that we are the only ones hunting the Sanbai. Kakashi replied. It is their funeral if they do attack us. Sasuke snorted. With that they made their way north and east, heading towards Mizuno-kuni. For more than a week the 2 groups searched when Kitsune suddenly stopped, sensing the Sanbai, but not near them. Crap! He shouted. What is it? Kabutomushi asked, confused. Can't you feel it? The Sanbai is being summoned, and nowhere near us, he exclaimed as he grabbed both of them and warped as close to the area as he could. Once on the ground, the 3 took off at a run, heading towards the 3-tailed beast. Skidding to a stop, Kitsune noted that it was a group of Otonin that were summoning the beast, with a young boy having some affinity to it. Masks off. Naruto ordered as the 2 nodded. We go in there, take down that beast, and from there take it back to Kaminari no Kuni. You make it sound so easy. Fu laughed. I hope it is that easy. Han noted as they moved into attack. Leaping into the air, Naruto struck first, starting several hand signs. Futon, Tsusuda Shadow, Twister Shot. Naruto shouted as he released a gust of wind from his mouth that created a massive twister, sending several of the Oto Nin flying. Landing, Naruto noted that Kabuto was among the Nin, and he looked very angry. Well, if it isn't Naruto-kun. He noted, you certainly have grown up. Who's the brat? A woman asked as she checked on the person who was trying to summon the Sanbai. He was a former Konohagakure no Sato shinobi before he was banished. He has been keeping a rather low profile since then. Kabuto grinned. Geez, this guy talks a lot. Can I kill him? Fu asked. If you can, I suggest you do it. Naruto replied. He's a medical ninjutsuist, so he has a strong advantage against taijutsuists. Then I will fight him. Han replied. I have the clear advantage. Fine. Just don't get yourself killed. Naruto replied as he looked at the woman. Now she is going to be a tough one. How can you tell? Fu asked. She seems to be of equal rank to Kabuto, so she must be strong. Naruto replied. But how strong is the question? You'll just have to find out. The woman laughed as suddenly the Sanbai broke free. Shit! Naruto exclaimed as he and the other two Jinchuriki leapt back, avoiding the tidal wave that the beast unleashed. Standing on top of some trees a distance back, Naruto checked the surrounding area. The beast comes first. We can't let it get away. Naruto sighed. Got it. The two nodded as they leapt atop of the water and charged at the beast, Naruto drawing on his wind affinity again. Futon, Tsuasida Shato. Naruto shouted as he sent another twister at the biju, that as soon as the windstorm hit the water brought it up, smashing into the beast and sending it skidding several yards back. Fu and Han, running along the water, struck next. Jotun, Netsuha o Makura Ken, steam release, blinding heat wave. Han shouted as he used the water to create a massive steam cloud that blinded the beast, while Fu struck next. Dotun, Doryuso, rising stone spears. Fu exclaimed as she used the mud that had been created from the water to rise up and smash into the Sanbai's belly. And while it didn't pierce the shell, it did lift it off the ground as Naruto struck again. Futon, Kaze no Yaiba, blade of wind. Naruto shouted as he emitted wind chakra from his fingertips and let it slash into the hard shell, managing to pierce the shell, causing the beast to roar in pain as it used one of its tails to try and attack Naruto, who had used the wind sword to deflect the tail and managed to cut it a bit as he went flying back. This is not going to be easy. Naruto groaned. Suddenly a mist appeared around the area and Naruto knew that they were under attack. Leaping into the air, Naruto saw a pink blade flash by where he had been. Not bad, boy. A woman laughed. We watched you wound the beast. That is not some small feat, but we cannot allow you to take this biju. Well, I am not letting Orochimaru get his hands on it either. Naruto retorted as the mist started to dissipate, revealing that Han was fighting against Kabuto while Fu was fighting the remaining 3 Otonin. You think you can stop us? I know I can. But let me ask you a few things while we dance. Naruto grinned as he drew Gairu, facing off against her pink crystal blade. Go ahead. I enjoy talking to my opponents as I kill them. She laughed. With that the two clashed, the crystal sword ringing every time Naruto struck it with Gairu. So what is your name anyway? I have never seen you among Orochimaru's forces. My name is Girin. And I serve Orochimaru because he rescued me. He is using you. As soon as that usefulness has ended, he will get rid of you, Naruto replied. And if he does? Then who will protect that boy? Naruto asked as she flinched. I saw how you were eyeing him, how you were making sure that he wasn't going to get hurt when the Sanbai showed up. You care for him. So what? She snapped as they leapt away, avoiding one of the tails of the Sanbai that was attacking randomly, destroying the area. Who will protect him if Orochimaru kills you? Naruto asked. He wouldn't, she shouted. Really? He has thrown away people that had no further use to him before. What is to stop him from doing it again? Naruto countered as they clashed again. Trading blows for several seconds, they leapt back again. And what do you propose I do about it? She asked. I can't exactly disappear. You can. And I can help you do it. I can have you two kept safe easily while still being shinobi. I can promise you that he will be safe. Naruto replied as he spared a glance at the Sanbai that was still rampaging around the area but was slowly stopping. I don't know, she muttered. Would you like him to decide? Naruto asked with a grin as he looked over to see that Fu had just finished killing the 3 Otonin and Han had managed to force Kabuto to retreat. Yes. She nodded as Naruto nodded before focusing on the Sanbai. That kid, he can control the Sanbai, can he? Yes, Yukimura can. Girin nodded. I see. I have an offer for him once I am done stomping that turtle. Han. Yes? The red-armored ninja asked. Go with Girin and find the boy Yukimura. Bring them back here. Fu, you and me will distract the Biju long enough for them to get back. Naruto ordered as the two nodded. Once Girin and Han had left, Naruto nodded to Fu. We go tail. How many? How many can you control? I've got 3 at the moment. Then 3 is all you can do. I intend to go all out. Naruto replied as he changed, drawing on pure yang chakra of the Kyuubi, gaining a glowing yellow flickering aura while having the new seal visible along with marks that were similar to the Rikudo Sannin. Grinning, Naruto took off in a flash, appearing above the Sanbai, and smashing into its back, earning a roar from the beast as Fu struck, using her naturally increased power to punch one of the Sanbai's legs, causing it to fall to the ground while Naruto kicked its head, sending it flying. I forgot how strong this form is. Naruto laughed as he charged forward again. For a straight minute Naruto pounded the Sanbai, while Fu tried to keep up, and was doing fairly well at hurting the massive beast. As Naruto stopped, he moved back just as a fireball hit where he had been standing. Turning, Naruto looked at Sasuke and Sakura, who were both staring at him. Well. Didn't think I'd see you this early, team. Naruto chuckled, and I have permission to kill any Konohagakure shinobi I come across. You wouldn't be able to even lay a finger on us, Sakura shouted as Naruto chuckled. Hey Fu! Naruto shouted. Yeah? Think you can hold off the beast while I show my former teammates how strong I really am? Yeah. Besides, I think Han is almost back with those two, Fu replied. Good. I will be back in a few minutes. Naruto nodded as he focused on his two teammates with a grin. Now let's get this show on the road, and don't hold back or you won't live very long. With that, Naruto disappeared and appeared right in front of the two, kicking Sakura into a cluster of trees several yards away, destroying every tree between there and the starting point, while he focused on Sasuke, punching him in the stomach while following through, focusing on only using his taijutsu, knocking him around the trees like he was nothing. How is the dope so strong? My Sharingan can't even keep up with his movements. After more than a minute of pounding Sasuke, Naruto stopped and looked at Fu, who was now running from the sandbai as it was firing Baijidama at her. Sorry team, but I am out of time to play. My friend needs some help with our turtle problem. Naruto grinned as he disappeared in the same golden flash and appeared over the turtle, creating a Rasengan that quickly became a Baijidama, firing it into the beast's back, earning a howl of pain. Landing on a tree nearby, Naruto saw that Han had returned with Guren and Yukimaru. Leaping down to where they were, Naruto stopped using the Yang chakra and returned to normal. Hey, took you long enough, Naruto remarked. Sorry. We ran into difficulties on the way back. Han said a shinobi that worked for them thought to attack us. Okay, Yukimaru? Naruto asked. Yeah, the young boy nodded. Well, I want to ask you something. You really like Guren, right? Yeah. Yukimaru nodded. Well, she worries about you. And I noticed that you could command the turtle over there. So how would you like to make a deal? What kind of deal? You help us stop that thing from rampaging, and I promise to get you two into Kaminari no Kuni, and put in a good word with the Raikage if you want to train to be shinobi. Naruto smiled. Why do I sense that there is more to this? Guren asked. There is. Naruto nodded. This part is entirely optional, off to the side. But if you would be willing to have Scaly over there sealed inside of you, to become a Jinchuriki like me and my two partners over here, I would take both you and Guren into Yugir, where you will be protected and trained by the very best. And I promise that we will do all that we can to make your dreams come true. My dreams come true? Yeah. I made Yugir for that main reason. So will you at least help us with the first offer? The second one you can make at any time. The blonde smiled. Okay, as long as Guren gets to come with. Yukimaru nodded. You two are a package deal. Any offer I make you extends to her, and vice versa. Naruto nodded as he looked at Han. Time to get back to work. I'm low on chakra, so I have to leave things to you and Fu. That's fine. I will make sure that the sandbai is ready for transportation soon. Han nodded as he wrapped himself in his tailed beast cloak, becoming the Irakama and smashing into the sandbai. Once managing to pin the turtle, Han aimed a Baijidama at point-blank range, firing the blast without a moment's hesitation, knocking the sandbai unconscious while forcing Han to revert back to normal. Han! Naruto shouted as he ran over to the older man. Hey! It worked! He laughed as Naruto shook his head at the man. Turning, Naruto noted that Guren and Yukimaru had followed, and were staring at them in shock. That was incredible. Would I be able to do that if the sandbai was sealed in me? Yukimaru asked. With the proper training, yeah. Naruto nodded as he stood up, looking behind them to see Sasuke limping over, rage in his eyes. However, I have a bug to squish at the moment, so please give me a moment. Walking in front of Sasuke, Naruto glared at the man. Ironic, isn't it? Naruto asked. What is dope? This is the second time that we have clashed, and this is the second time that I have crushed you. Naruto grinned, and I wasn't even at full power. So much for the mighty Uchiha clan. I'll kill you! Sasuke shouted as he tried to draw his blade, but Kakashi appeared, stopping him. Sasuke, don't! Kakashi said as he looked at the Uchiha, who frowned at his former teacher before stepping back. Kakashi-sensei. Naruto grinned. Naruto. It's good to see you again. Kakashi smiled as he shook his hand. You are looking very well. I didn't get to see your battle, but I can tell that you have grown. Thanks. Naruto grinned. Sorry I missed you while I was at Konoha. It's fine. I was busy. Kakashi laughed. So you helped take down the Sanbai. I guess we should back down. Yeah. If you tried to take away the demon after all that we went through to get it, I would beat you up and kill both of them. Naruto chuckled as Sakura staggered towards them, glaring at Naruto. Really now? Kakashi asked, giving Naruto a look. Hey, we are at war at the moment. Naruto grinned. I could technically kill all three of you and suffer no repercussions. Kakashi just shook his head at this while Sasuke snorted. You couldn't dope. I'd kill you first. Yeah. You only won because you caught us off guard. Sakura shouted. Really now? Naruto asked. Last I checked we were shinobi, we were supposed to expect the unexpected. So if you couldn't predict that a Jinchuriki was going to wipe the floor with you, then you are beyond hope. A what? Sakura asked as Kakashi sighed. One who carries a demon within them. One who sacrifices their own life at an early age to keep the Biju away from the world. I carry the greatest terror within me, and you think that you can threaten me into submission. You are fools. Naruto chuckled as he started walking away. It's a pleasure seeing you again, Kakashi-sensei. Be sure to give my best to Bachan and everyone, and tell Hinata-chan I miss her. With that, Naruto strode over to the Sanbai, where Han, Fu, Girin and Yukimaru were already waiting. Grabbing hold of the beast, Naruto hiroshined back to Kumo, leaving the three Konoha standing there as high in the sky two clay birds flew over. Looks like we were too late, Deidara-senpai. Tobi laughed. It seems so. Deidara spat. Who'd have thought that all of these people would be after the Sanbai? You didn't. Tobi laughed as Deidara ordered the bird to crash and tried to kill Tobi, who turned intangible for a few seconds to save himself from the explosion. Back in Kumogakure, Naruto was having several nin maintain the powerful barrier they had created around the Sanbai as they tested Yukimaru to see if he could be a Jinchuriki. After a few moments, Gaara approached. Well? Naruto asked. He is a better candidate than Yuki. He nodded. Good. Naruto nodded. And he wants to do this? Yes. He said he wants to be able to defend Girin. Gaara replied. Excellent. Let's start the sealing process. Naruto grinned as he approached Yukimaru. Okay, Yukimaru. I'm going to be the one to seal the Sanbai inside of you. So that way if anything goes wrong I can at least be there to defend you. What about Girin? Yukimaru asked. She will be nearby, but not close enough to react. What we are going to be doing is going to be very dangerous, and I don't want her getting hurt. That's why I am doing the sealing myself. Naruto smiled. Now let's get started. The sooner the Sanbai is sealed inside of you, the better. Walking towards the barrier, a small opening was made as the two entered, Yukimaru naked as Naruto started drawing the seals on his stomach, creating an intricate pattern, one that was every bit as strong as his. Once finished, Naruto started channeling chakra into the seal and then creating the link that would draw the Sanbai into the seal. The Sanbai immediately realized what was happening and tried to get away, but the seal was stronger than the last one that imprisoned it, and soon the Sanbai was trapped inside Yukimaru, who passed out from the strain. Finally done. Naruto panted as the barrier was dropped. Yukimaru! Girin shouted as she ran over to him. He'll be fine. Just let him sleep, and eat himself back to sleep when he wakes up. Tomorrow we will start training him. Naruto smiled as he patted her shoulder before stopping. Oh, that's right. Turning, Naruto placed seal next to Yukimaru. Make sure that he keeps that with him at all times. In case the Akatsuki ever come looking for him, I can find him quickly. Okay. Girin nodded as she picked up Yukimaru and was led to a room where the two of them could rest. Grinning, Naruto looked up at the sky before laughing. And this makes 8. Only one left to find. Sir! A voice shouted. Turning, Naruto saw a man running over. What is it? Naruto asked. Sir, the diplomats that you sent to aim have been killed. The man panted. What? Naruto growled. Yes, I went to go check in on them a few days ago and found them all dead, and saw 7 people leaving the scene. I see. The Akatsuki decided where they want to stand with us. Naruto growled as a young man walked next to him. What do you make of it, Sasori? The redhead had been genetically recreated into a new body using his cells to replicate his body at the young age he had been at when he had turned himself into a puppet. It was likely the leader. He noted aim is his home, so he likely attacked himself to make a point. If one was a woman, then that would be Konan. I see. Any chance that they could be convinced to join us? Naruto asked. They might be. It would come down to how good your luck was. Sasori replied. Leader isn't one to be underestimated. He has the Rinnegan from what I saw in the meetings. Does he now? Well, I suppose I should rip apart his organization bit by bit then. Naruto grinned as he looked at the revived the puppet user, and I will be needing your help for this. Whatever you need, just let me know. Sasori nodded. Just one thing at the moment. Who are the members left? Well, while I was there was Itachi and Kisame. They are a strong team and not one to be taken lightly. Then there was the undead team. They consisted of Hidan and Kakuzu, with neither of them really able to die. Hidan practices a religion to the god Jashin, and is unable to die. Kakuzu, however, seems to be immortal in a different way. He can use almost every element for jutsu, and uses black threads to reattach or give someone new body parts. Next would be the only solo team. His name is Zetsu, and he is the spy amongst our ranks. He can travel great distances, and while I don't know anything about his abilities, I do know that he has a literal split personality, and that he eats any of the bodies of members that have died. Lastly is leader and his partner Konan. The two of them never leave Amigakure unless there is a major battle to fight. No one really knows anything about them except Zetsu, and he doesn't tell anyone anything. Sasori explained. Okay, and of course Deidara and whoever his new partner is. Naruto nodded. Well, we will start taking this organization apart. Itachi and Kisame will join us sooner or later, that I know for certain. The undead team will be killed. As for Zetsu, I don't know what to do about him, but we will figure something out. Deidara might be convinced to join us, but I can't say for certain. And the last two, well, I have hope that they can be convinced to join us. If you say so. Sasori grinned. So how is your new puppets coming along? Naruto asked as they started walking. Very well, actually. I am using a new method of making them. You were right about one thing. A human body can surpass anything, really. I have created a means of using an actual person as the base without having to kill them. I have been able to recreate the Sandame Kazekage with a denser armor on the outside, and have altered the iron sand so it is more pliable and easier to manipulate than the last one was. There is no lag time with this and actually can respond to the smallest of motions. Sasori beamed as he explained his newest puppet. I see. And your other works? They are progressing. I am looking into the suggestion you made, about puppets that require no strings to move. I have some ideas, but without a prototype made first it is very unlikely I will make any progress. Well, keep at it. I have faith in your abilities. Naruto grinned as he let Sasori go to his workshop. Walking further along, Naruto stopped and stared into the distance before calling out. I know you're here, Jiraiya. Naruto said as the white-haired Sannin appeared. Hey Gaki. Jiraiya grinned. You shouldn't be here. You know that Yugir has declared war on Konoha. Naruto remarked. I know. I was hoping to convince you to abandon that. Not likely. Naruto chuckled. I know. You're as stubborn as your mother was. Jiraiya laughed. You wear her sword well. Thanks. So tell me, what brings you here? I know that this isn't a social visit. Information. I was hoping to trade information on the Akatsuki for information about your organization here. Jiraiya replied. For you, Jiraiya, I will accept this deal, but will only tell you as much as your information is worth. Naruto smiled as he took a seat on a rock nearby. Thanks. Well, for starters, I have managed to find out something that I think might be of interest to you. I'm all ears. The leader of Akatsuki, it isn't one person, it's 6 and all of them have the Rinnegan. Wait. I thought that only one person could have it. That's what I thought. The truth is I think I know who is leading the Akatsuki. His name is Nagato. I met him back during the war with AIM, back when I got my title as a Sannin. Anyway, he had the Rinnegan, and had the makings of a great shinobi. However, something has happened. I heard that they were dead, but I recognized 2 of them when I saw your diplomats get attacked. You were there? Naruto asked with a glare. It wasn't my place to interfere. Besides, it was a good chance to get some information of 2 of Konohagakure's enemies. Jiraiya replied. Fine. So who did you recognize? Actually, all of them. I think Nagato has managed to control dead bodies. At the moment, he is using 6 bodies, and they were all shinobi that I had encountered at one point or another in my life. However, the main one I recognized was the body of one of my former pupil and Nagato's friend Yahiko. He's using his friend's dead body like that. Yeah. Tell me something, is there any chance that he could revive the dead if the person's body was still intact, no matter how long they were dead? Naruto asked. Maybe. I can't say for certain, but it's a possibility. Jiraiya nodded. I see. It's something to look into, Naruto muttered. Anyways, the other person I recognized was the last of the 3 I trained. Her name is Konan, and she uses paper to fight. Interesting. This is more information than I had. Alright, Jiraiya, you've earned yourself 5 questions. Naruto grinned. Alright. How many Jinchuriki do you have? 7 that are trained at the moment, with an 8th one that is going to start training soon. The only one missing is the Rokubi. So you did get the Sanbai. Okay, how many nations have allied with you? At the moment we have 5 nations that will fight with us, and only 2 that refuse to join us, while the rest are still in the process of making up their minds. Current level of shinobi? Most are in the Chunin rank to the ANBU level. A few of our members have Kage level skills and are usually the ones to lead important missions. Location of bases? In every country, with the majority of them in Kaminari no Kuni. Who are the highest ranking people? Jiraiya, I can only tell you so much on this. I am sticking to code names only, fair? Fine. Kitsune is the commander of all of the members of Yugir, with Tanuki, Nico, Kame, Saru, Irakama, Kabutamushi, and Owashi all having advisory positions, along with several other members such as Ryu, Bato, Kabura, and Washi. However, all of the allies send representatives to give voice amongst the group, so we know exactly what is going on in each homeland. All members otherwise stand equal to each other, and if the majority say so, the positions will be shifted to allow for one who is more suited to the role take the place. Naruto replied. I see. Listen, Naruto, if things start to get bad here, you can always come find me. Thanks, but I am fine with the way things are. Just don't get yourself killed. I expect you to be joining us once Konohagakure is gone. Naruto laughed. Really now, that confident? Jiraiya, you have yet to see us in action. All we are doing is small work, establishing our limits and powers. Soon we are going to strike and the world will tremble in fear at the true terror that lies within the growing darkness. Naruto grinned as he walked off, and Jiraiya, you have until tomorrow evening to be out of Kaminari no Kuni before things get violent. Gulping, Jiraiya started walking away, shaking his head at the information that Naruto had given him at the cost of giving him information about the terrorist organization. Once the perverted Sannin was back in Konohagakure, he went to Tsunade with the information. I see. So we are in trouble. She sighed. That about sums it up, Haim. He nodded. The fact is that I believe the kid when he says that he's going to destroy Konohagakure. He means business, and the Toads are refusing to take part in this since the 2 summoners are standing on opposite ends of this conflict. That's not good. Has Naruto gone to Mount Myaboki yet? No. The Toads say that he hasn't gone there to learn Senjutsu yet, but it is only a matter of time before he does. But by which way he could be trying to use this war as a distraction so he can gain the training. No. He doesn't know the secret paths, so the only way would be for a reverse summoning to occur. Jiraiya replied. Besides, the Toads aren't important right now. Our main concern is this: Yugir may not have great amounts of members, but they have easily enough to combat us for a long time. They have 8 Jinchuriki fighting with them, all of them learning how to use their demon to the best of their abilities. They have several nations fighting with them, with 2 of the 5 great nations already with them. They have us at a massive disadvantage, that our only strength lies in the fact that we have superior numbers, and have a lot of talent amongst our ranks. I get it. Tsunade sighed. But what can we do? As much as I hate to say it, we may have to talk to the remaining nations that haven't allied with them if we want to stand any chance of winning. Jiraiya sighed. That means we have to convince Iwagakure and Kirigakure to assist us in this battle. Ugh. Tsunade sighed as she slammed her head on her desk. Jiraiya, send messengers to Iwagakure and Kirigakure. Tell them that I want to discuss something that is of mutual interest. Nodding, the white-haired Sannin walked out of the room, passing the message on to Shizen, who in turn sent out the birds. Faster! Naruto shouted as he kicked Yukimaru in the stomach, lifting him off the ground for a moment as he continued the barrage of attacks. Yukimaru seemed to try and respond, but Naruto was a far superior opponent, forcing the youth to try and dodge around attacks that most jonin would have had trouble with. Is he always this harsh? Guren asked from the side of the training grounds where the other Jinchuriki were watching. Normally, yes. Gaara nodded. He's a hard taskmaster, but in the end he does know what it takes to draw out the full potential of his students. Yujito agreed. He won't push him any harder than his body can handle. You sure? Gwen asked, watching as Yukimaru was looking very exhausted. Of course we sure, Yukimaru can endure. He grinned as Yujito smacked him upside the head. I thought we said no rapping. She sighed. There is something that I'm curious about. How did Yugir get set up here? Guren asked. It was almost a year ago, actually. Yujito began. Flashback. Yujito and B had been called to the Raikage's office, to be a show of force for the leader of Yugir. There had been rumors circulating around that Yugir had entered their borders and were helping the village people deal with various problems that normally their shinobi would be sent to handle. Now the mysterious leader was coming with a small party to talk to the Raikage. Just stay silent, and let's see what he has in mind, stated as the two took up positions among his usual guards. It wasn't long before A's secretary informed them that the party from Yugir had arrived. The doors opened to reveal a young man with a fox umbu mask on, close to Yujito's height, walking in. He only had one of the swords at this time, and as he entered he gave off an aura of confidence. There were two other people with him. One was a young girl with a Kyuubi-style hunter-name mask with blue marks on it, while the other was a man, as tall as the Raikage, with long brown hair and brown eyes. He wore a tan poncho with baggy gray pants visible with 3 straps on each leg, fingerless gauntlets that had 4 knuckle protrusions, and shoes with 2 cylindrical protrusions from each one. This man scared Yujito more than the man in the fox mask. Raikage-sama. The fox masked youth nodded, bowing slightly to show his respect to the leader of the village. So you're the leader of Yugir? I asked, going straight to the point, as was his strong suit. I am called Kitsune. He replied. I have come to speak of an alliance with you. An alliance? A frown. I don't see why you would seek to ally with a nation when you are a bunch of mercenaries. A reasonable question. Kitsune nodded to answer. I seek to unite the world under a single banner, to bring about an everlasting peace. I seek to unite all the nations of the world, and while Haru no Kuni has agreed to help support us, we are a growing organization, and they will not have the means of aiding us for much longer, at least not alone. It is why I have come to you to ask for this alliance. You managed to get Haru no Kuni, the biggest neutral village in the elemental nations, to side with you. I blinked. I have a history with their leader. Kitsune replied with a shrug, but as I said, it is not enough to support us forever. We need one of the 5 great nations behind us. And you chose us? Am I supposed to be flattered? I snapped. No. I chose you based on logic, and for one of the goals that we have set for ourselves, at the request of one of our members. Kitsune shrugged. Iwagakure would reject us for fear of upsetting the current balance of power. Kirigakure is still too unstable from the purge that their yondaime started. Sunigakure doesn't have the resources for more than what they already have. And Konohagakure? I asked. We will see it burn. Kitsune stated bluntly. They have crossed too many lines in the last few years, and have become a cancerous sore on the name of shinobi. We will remove that sore. I blinked at this. He had heard many people wanting to oppose Konohagakure, but never one that spoke of peace. He stared at the leader some more before he decided to probe into the matter some more. Let's set aside the matter of Konohagakure for a moment, since as you know there is little love lost between us. Why should we make this alliance with you? What is in it for us? Very well. First, we will offer you the best benefits for joining us. We seek to unite the entire world, whether by the pen or by the sword will be up to them. First, will be your own fleet of airships that Haru no Kuni is currently working on. The prototypes are nearing completion, and once they are done I will be willing to take you to see them in action before we work on the real fleet. Second will be access to Yugir's knowledge. I have been traveling the land for many years now and have searched through many of the secret places, finding much knowledge that was lost, and I am willing to share it with you. Finally will be a vow that should any hostilities befall your village, Yugir will aid you with all of our power. I frowned at all of this information, but if what he was saying was true, he was offering him a rather large lump of gold. I assume that there are conditions for your end of this deal? I remarked. Indeed. First is that you give us your full support in our plans, and once you align with us you will be allowed access to them. There will be no secrets between us. Second is that should we go to war and we call for your aid, you are to help us. Lastly, I would like your 2 Jinchuriki to join us as full Yugir operatives. No. I stated bluntly, I will not release the Jinchuriki to you. This isn't mine or your choice, this is for them to decide. Kitsune replied as he looked at B, and then Yujito. Yugir was created to be a haven for the Jinchuriki, a safe place where they will not be mistreated. So you say? I snorted. Why would I lie? He asked. To gain 2 incredibly powerful Jinchuriki under your control so you can turn around and stab us in the back. So you can take control of this village with 2 powerful demons at your command to squash any rebellions that might start. I sneered. There was a moment of silence before they all felt Ki wash over them as red chakra started to swirl around Kitsune. It started to take form, becoming several tails, waving around angrily as he stared at A, his rage growing. Before anyone could move, the girl grabbed his arm and started pulling on it. Girl needs to get back, kid's about to crack. B shouted as he drew one of his blades. Kitsune looked at the girl and then the red churka started to disappear as he started to calm down. Thank you, Nami. I owe 20 ryo to the jar. He sighed. What was that? A asked, are you? I am. He nodded. I received the burden that my mother carried before me. So that's why you're so intent on helping the Jinchuriki, Yugito stated. Yes. Consider this a show of good faith. He stated as he removed his mask. My full name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. All of the shinobi blinked at this. Namikaze was a well-known name, and if this young man was his son, then that meant that he was either a Mizignin, or that he had been banished. It's safe to assume that you know of our history with your father, I remarked. That was then, this is now. Naruto replied, just because my father was your foe, does not mean that I am. I see. Care to explain that little display? Kyuubi has yet to fully bow to my will. Naruto sighed. When my temper flares, he gets a little foothold and manages to do what you just saw. Nami here is the only one that can calm me down without the need to battle me. Otherwise it takes several jonin-ranked nin, or my sensei, to stop me. And the jar? Yugito asked. Every time I lose my temper I put money into the jar, as a way to help me stop losing it so often. Once the jar is filled I take it and get her a treat. Naruto explained. Yugito blinked at this and started to giggle when Nami spoke. It's almost full, Nami stated, a smile in her voice. I assume that your sensei is the man behind you, I remarked. I am. He nodded. Your name? I have many names, but you may call me Hao Asakura. Hao smiled. Hao Asakura! Exclaimed the Hao Asakura, the Buzoku Shushin. The Yoso no Masuta? The one and only. Hao nodded. It is refreshing to know that I am still well known to the world after all these years away. And how did you become this kid's sensei? A asked. I found him wandering the world and I took an interest in him. He had great potential and I sought to bring it out. Hao smiled. He is an adept student, devouring jutsu like a glutton does food. He will make an excellent successor to me when my time comes. You know I have bigger dreams than that. Naruto chuckled. This is a lot to take in. Aside. I know that I ask a lot, and that there are a great many risks, but the rewards are worth it. Naruto explained. So you say. I will need some time to think on this. I will inform you of my decision when I have made it. I replied. That is perfectly fine. We will be camped near the mountains to your south. Send a Masager bird when you have made your decision. Naruto nodded as he bowed again and left with his two companions. It took the Reikage a few days to make up his mind, and his choice wasn't a popular one amongst all the shinobi. He finally agreed to let Yugir align with them, and that caused several revolts across the country. Yugir helped put them down, and in the end we let the shinobi of those revolts that surrendered rejoin the ranks with no repercussions. Yugito explained. That simple? Guren asked. Yeah. The boss is a softer sometimes. Yugito chuckled. He should be finished with Yukimaru in just a moment. Naruto struck again, unleashing a sweeping kick that knocked Yukimaru to the ground before stopping a punch just before it hit him. Time? He shouted over to the spectators. 3 hours 47 minutes 43 seconds. Han shouted back. Alright Yukimaru, we're done for today. Go eat and rest. Tomorrow you're working with Han on that mist of yours. Naruto explained as he patted the boy on the back. Guren walked over and walked with the boy, taking him to the dining hall while Naruto went to talk with the other Jinchuriki. So what do you think? Naruto asked. His ninjutsu skills are low chunin at the moment, but he has a strong affinity for water and wind. Gaara replied. He has some skill in taijutsu, but there is a lot of work ahead of him. Yugito added. His drawing on the power of the Sanbai is slow coming. He can handle only a single tail at the moment, and we are still working on him getting the second tail with just chakra. Rashi stated. That mist of his isn't a Kekkei Genkai. It might be some bastardized version of the Kirigakure no Jutsu. Han noted. He doesn't have any skill for genjutsu, but I have him working on recognizing them until we can find some that he can handle. Fu shrugged. No need to hate, this kid will be great. V laughed. Glad to see we all agree. Naruto nodded as he stated to leave. I'm going to get some rest. Wake me if there's an emergency. Got it. Fu nodded as the other Jinchuriki all went off to do their own thing. At the border of Kaminari no Kuni, two figure in black coats with red clouds on them approached a border station. So Leader Sama wants us to break in and kill as many as we can? The one carrying the scythe asked. That's what he told us. The other man nodded. Kill any that get in our way, and tried to capture any Jinchuriki that we can get our hands on. So no need to hold back? None, you idiot. Jashin will be well pleased with this carnage, the other exclaimed as they reached the border station. Naruto slept peacefully until he felt one of the seals that he kept on his person heat up. Jumping out of bed, he checked the seal and saw that it was one of the seals that he had given to all of the Jinchuriki in Yugir. Currently the number 2 was flashing red, meaning that Akatsuki was attacking and that they were stronger than they could handle. Knowing that the other seals would be going off as well, Naruto made his way towards Yujito's training ground. It took him a few minutes to hurry close enough to it and get there, and when he arrived he saw that Yujito was already in her Biju form and was trying to crush the 2 Akatsuki that were attacking her. Show time. Naruto growled as he leapt down, flashing through various hand signs: futon, Renkuden, drilling air bullet. The 2 Akatsuki were caught off guard by the sudden arrival of the blonde and were sent flying by the attack as Naruto took a fighting stance. You okay? Naruto asked. Been better. Yujito replied. They can't die. Damn. Naruto muttered. Guess we just cut them into tiny pieces. So who's this fucktard? The scythe user spat. That is Naruto Uzumaki. Danzo from Konoha has a bounty on his head, and he's a Jinchuriki. A 2-for-1 deal. The other chuckled. Well, let's get him, Kakuzu. Not so fast, Hidan. This kid isn't to be taken lightly, Kakuzu warned. That's right, especially when I'm not alone. Naruto chuckled as the other Jinchuriki arrived. You've been looking for us. Well, here we are. Kakuzu took note of each one of the Jinchuriki there, and then stated, I count 7. You're 1 short. He isn't ready to play with you. Naruto replied. Split up, take the one best suited to your abilities. Got it. They all nodded as they struck. Naruto, Gaara and Fu went straight for Hidan, who had a maniacal grin on his face as he swung his scythe at them, but Naruto already had Gyro out, blocking the slashes as Gaara was sending waves of sand at the man while Fu prepared some Doton techniques to help take him down. The others were focusing on Kakuzu, who, realizing that he was at a disadvantage, unleashed all of his hearts and let them focus on the various Jinchuriki. B went straight for Kakuzu while Yujito handled the wind and lightning masks. Han fought against the fire mask and Han handled the water mask. Yujito was still in her Biju form, and when the 2 masks tried to use a combination attack she simply blocked it, smashing the wind one and letting the fire devour it before using her tails to grab the lightning mask and fire a point-blank Baijudama. While this was going on, Han was fighting against the fire mask, counteracting the fire jutsu with water jutsu and working his way closer. Suetun, Han Hanryu, tearing torrent. Han roared as he used the water jutsu to smash his hand through the mask and destroy the heart inside of it. Kakuzu was now getting worried. He had felt his 3 hearts get destroyed and realized that if things continued like this then he might actually die. B wasn't giving him a chance to retreat though, as he had used the Reikage right on no Yoroi, lightning release armor, to give himself the edge and cancel out the Doton, Domu, Earth Spear technique. This isn't looking good. Kakuzu grunted as he dodged a punch. This wasn't the plan. Your plan has already failed, and you got no chance to bail. B laughed as he struck lariat. Kakuzu was unprepared as he was struck by the powerful strike to his neck and fell to the ground dazed as B took a lightning-enhanced blade to his heart, stabbing him and pinning the knee to the ground. Rashi was smirking as he weaved around the attacks of the water mask and smirked as he used his Biju's power to enhance his final technique. Leaping back, he finished the hand signs and smirked while saying, Yoton, Binding the Yogan, lava release, binding lava. Rashi exclaimed as the molten magma that he had been dreeing up to the surface sprang forth and pinned the masked monstrosity to the ground. Turning, he walked away as Kaku looked at the sight and had a faint glimmer of hope that they wouldn't actually kill him and that he might be able to escape. That hope died along with him quickly as the second half of the technique triggered. A pillar of magma shot up, engulfing the entire thing before cooling quickly and becoming a giant stone pillar. Yoton Maguma Hashira, Magma Pillar, Rashi stated as the last heart was destroyed. Kakuzu managed to chuckle a little as he finally died after so many years alive. Hidan was growing annoyed with the tactics that Naruto, Fu and Gaara used against him. Naruto managed to keep him back using Ryujingu Fu to keep Hidan back and managed to inflict several small wounds on him, while Gaara was using his sand to keep Hidan away from Fu, who had taken the cylindrical object off of her back and was preparing something. You bastards! Just die! Hidan screamed as Naruto leapt away from his side and Fu nodded that she was finished. Fu stood, holding several short metal spikes that were now glowing red with the Nanabi's chakra. Try this. Hidan, Piasa no Erasure, Piercing Storm. Fu grinned as the spikes shot off and started stabbing Hidan, pinning him to the wall behind him as he exclaimed from the pain. You fucking bitch! How dare you put all these fucking holes in my body? I'm going to enjoy making you suffer, you bitch! Hidan roared. Quite the mouth on him, Naruto noted as he swung Ryujinkafu to sever his head, earning more of the cursing Gaara if you would be so kind. Gladly, Gaara replied as he had his sand wrap around the now headless body of Hidan, removed the metal spikes and then crushed it to the point where no amount of medical ninjutsu would be able to fix it. You fucking shits! You just fucked up my body! I'll kill you! He raged as Naruto turned to check on how the others were doing. Everyone okay? Naruto asked. Yeah. Yujito nodded as she was back in her human form now. Hey Kakuzu! Get up and help me! Hidan shouted at his partner. Too late. Rashi snorted, the fool is dead. No way! Hidan shouted. Now Naruto was having enough of listening to Hidan and set the head on the ground, used one hand to hold the mouth open and the other to cut out his tongue. I still have no idea why he is still alive, Fu remarked as she saw Naruto toss the tongue off to the side, or how he was able to keep talking after we cut his head off. Let's just chalk it up to being a disciple of Jashin and leave it at that, Naruto replied as the others all nodded their agreement, but I have to admit, not being able to die is a pretty sweet deal. No kidding, but the cost is rather high, Han noted as he looked at the two Akatsuki. So what should we do with them? I have an idea. Naruto grinned as the others all looked at him slightly worried. The boss is in a mood, this is going to be good. B chuckled as Naruto just grinned. The next day at the main entrance to Kaminari no Kuni there were two heads on spears. The first was rather unharmed while the second one had its mouth sticked shut, and its eyes and ears were missing, with the both having been burned so that they were disfigured almost beyond recognition. Beneath the pair was a sign that read, "Beware all who enter here with evil intentions." That same day Tsunade was at the meeting point in Kawa no Kuni with Jiraiya and Hinata in the shadows ready to aid her if the meeting went south. As she sat in the meeting room the door opened and a young woman entered with two men. She wore a blue strapless dress that drew the eye to her rather large bosom and her red hair covered her right eye. The two men were almost opposites of one another. One was young with goggles on, with a massive weapon on his back that had two hilts coming from it. The other man was older with an eye patch on, and looked to have weathered many hardships. By their headbands they were from Kirigakure, and from how the two acted towards the woman she must be the Godane Mizukage. Hokage-sama. She smiled as she nodded to her. It's a pleasure to finally meet you, Mizukage-sama. Tsunade smiled. Please, we're both equals, call me Mei. Tsunade. Before the pleasantries could continue another three entered. One was an old man with a large nose while his guards were a young man and a young woman. So only the three of us, eh? He asked with a smirk. Sachikage-sama. Tsunade nodded. Well, we're all here, so what is this about? He asked as he sat down. Yes, I am just as curious about this meeting, and why the Reikage and the Kazekage were not invited. Mei noted. Straight to the point then. We are the only three of the great shinobi nations that have not bowed to Yugir, Tsunade stated. Ah, that Sachikage nodded. Now this makes sense. At the moment the world is being divided between Yugir and remaining independent. And any that don't bow to them will be destroyed, Tsunade explained. Are you certain? Mei asked. Konoha was not offered the chance to join. A member of this organization wants us destroyed. Tsunade sighed. And I think I know who, but pray that I am wrong. Oh? Who among this organization that preaches peace wants to destroy you? The Tsuchikage asked. His name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, a former Konoha shinobi that was banished on very weak charges, Tsunade replied. Damn. I knew that he had son. The Tsuchikage snorted. But why would the son of the village's most cherished Hokage be banished? Only a select few knew that information. Now that he is over 16, however, this information can be divulged to certain parties. However, we are straying from the point. I assume that both of you have received representatives from Yugir. I have. He nodded. I turned them down. Iwagakure has remained a strong and independent village since its founding, and I will not have that thrown away while I remained Tsuchikage. They approached my village as well. We haven't given them an answer yet, But the representative warned us that if we take too long we may be deemed an enemy and have to be invaded. Mei explained. Then you can probably understand why I have asked you here. It is in our best interest to form an alliance against Yugir if we hope to remain free. Tsunade proposed. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, eh? The Tsuchikage nodded. I can see the wisdom in that. If they already have so many other nations supporting them, now is not the time to be divided. We work together and oppose them. I must decline at this time. Mei remarked. My village is still recovering from the previous Mizukage's madness. I can't condemn my people to a battle that we might not even be able to win. Until I am certain that we would stand a chance against Yugir, I must stand down. That is your choice, Mizukage. The Tsuchikage snorted, but only a coward sits back and waits. Better cowardice that protects my people than bravery that condemns them, Mei replied coldly as she turned and left. Well then, Tsuchikage, shall we begin planning? Tsunade asked. Yes, let's. And my allies may call me Inoki. He nodded. With that, the pair began discussing strategies that they could use against Yugir in hopes that all their planning would be enough to turn the tide if war truly broke out. Naruto and Ei were looking over a map of the current national borders, marking the various nations that had allied with them. Before they could mark many more, the doors were knocked open and a Yugir shinobi ran in, all afluster. Reikage-sama! Kitsune-sama! We just received word from our operatives in the south. Morio has been revived, he exclaimed. What? Naruto and Ei both shouted, exchanging looks. How did this happen? Ei asked. The shrine housing his spirit was attacked. No one survived. At the moment his army is on the march, heading towards Hai no Kuni at the moment. Naruto frowned as he went back to map and began tracing a route that they were likely to take. If they succeed in taking Hai no Kuni, then too many of our allies will be helpless. As much as I would like to watch them fall, we can't afford to leave our allies helpless to this demon. Naruto mused. I'll head to Konohagakure and see what they plan on doing. This is a Class A emergency. Send word to all Yugir operatives that they are to gather and prepare for war. Right. I'll get the Kumogakure nin ready and send word to the rest of our allies. A nodded as Naruto donned his mask and hirashine to Tsunade's office. Tsunade had just finished briefing all the jonin in the village and returned to her office when she saw a flash of orange and Kitsune standing there. Kitsune. Tsunade nodded. Hokage-sama. I am here about the Morio problem. He stated Yugir is preparing to fight this threat as we speak, along with the rest of our allies. Really? Tsunade asked, slightly surprised. We may want you destroyed eventually, but Morio is too great a threat to leave alone. Yugir will soon be entering your borders to assist your forces in handling his army. Yugir explained. It is safe to assume that you will be sending a team to help the priestess stop this calamity. I did. Tsunade nodded. Then allow me to send an operative with them. Someone that will work well with almost any team you decide on. Kitsune offered. How do I know this isn't a trick? Tsunade asked. Because I am a man of my word, and I swear to you here and now that until Morio has been dealt with, Yugir and its allies will make no move against you. He replied as he bowed his head to her. This threat is too great to ignore, or to let our differences stop us from protecting the world. Tsunade sighed when she realized that he had a point. Fine. How soon can your operative be here? Give him 20 minutes and he will be here. And if anything should happen to him, and I suspect treachery, well, let's just say that you had better hand over all parties responsible, or we will hasten our plans to destroy you. Kitsune warned as he disappeared in a flash of orange light. Tsunade just sighed as she had Shizen get her Niji Hyuga, Rock Lee and Sakura Haruno. Once the three were standing before her, she explained what they planned on doing. While the bulk of our forces handle the army, you four are going to protecting the priestess until she can stop Morio. Tsunade stated. Tsunade-sama, there are only 3 of us, Sakura pointed out. That is because the 4th operative is on loan to us, Tsunade stated as suddenly Naruto appeared in a hurriation. Hey Bachan. Naruto grinned here and ready to work. You! Sakura shouted, causing all 4 of the others in the room to flinch. Yes, me, you Banshee. Naruto stated. Kitsune sent me saying that I have the most experience with Konohagakure shinobi, and would be the easiest to integrate into a team. A wise choice. Tsunade nodded. I assume you've been briefed. Yep. Naruto nodded. Good. Time is of the essence, you 4, and failure is not an option. Do whatever it takes to complete this mission, Tsunade ordered. Yes, Hokage-sama. Niji nodded as the 4 turned and walked out, with Sakura giving Naruto death glares as the blonde stopped and turned to Tsunade. Tell Hinata-chan that I said hello? Naruto smiled as he followed the group to the gates of the village where he and Niji were soon discussing the plan. Lee is our close-quarters fighter, Niji stated with Sakura as medic and myself as scout. And I'm your wildcard. Naruto replied, I've got plenty of ninjutsu skills, plus I've also picked up a few other tricks since I left. That is what I thought as well. Niji nodded as they started. It will take several hours to get to Oni no Kuni,